After rebirth, it turns out that my cold and arrogant husband likes me. My entire youth was all about He Zhengnian. I had been in love with him for 7 years, from high school to college, and finally climbed into his bed while drunk, and asked him to take responsibility. I know very well that a marriage that was achieved through despicable means is doomed to have no good ending. Chapter 1. It goes without saying. My entire youth is all about He Zhengnian. I have been in love with him for 7 years, from high school to college, and finally climbed into his bed while drunk, and asked him to take responsibility. I know it well. A marriage that was ushered in by despicable means is doomed to have no good ending. I also know that He Zhengnian never loved me. Reborn back to the 3rd year of high school. As a little tail who has been chasing He Zhengnian for almost 3 years, I suddenly said that I would not chase him anymore. Moving seats, changing my major, I wished to stay away from He Zhengnian. At the graduation party, He Zhengnian's eyes were red, and he blocked me in an empty corner. Why don't you continue to chase me? At night, on the wide bed, I looked at the man in front of me who got up and dressed, and sighed. What kind of work is so important? You have to work overtime in the middle of the night. He Zhengnian paused in dressing. It's not work. Qingqiu was awarded the title of Best Actress in Bolin this time and just returned to China. I'm going to attend her celebration party. You go to sleep first, he said. He leaned over and kissed me on the forehead. Soft. Tender. I bit my lips unconsciously. Qingqiu was He Zhengnian's rumored girlfriend in high school. Countless people thought that they would end up together, and no one expected that I would interfere. Even I thought so in my heart. If it wasn't for the fact that I took the drunk He Zhengnian away after the club dinner in my junior year and took the opportunity to climb into his bed. The one who would end up with He Zhengnian must be Qingqiu. Can I not go? I muttered in a voice that I couldn't even hear. Huh? What did you say? He Zhengnian was also stunned. I said. I forced a smile. Reaching out, I hugged He Zhengnian's neck and kissed him gently. Let's have a child, okay? He Zhengnian's breathing stagnated. Okay? I asked boldly again. My expectation seemed to hide the sadness of being abandoned. However, I saw that the already cold look of the person in front of me had added a bit of coldness. He pursed his lips tightly, never spoke, and never nodded. My favorite face was so cold that I shivered unconsciously. If you don't want it, forget it. I forced a smile, and my hands fell weakly. But the next moment, He Zhengnian finally nodded. Okay. He reached out and gently ruffled my long hair. I'm going out, wait for me to come home. Well, Zhengnian, I love you. My cheeks were red. Although we are an old couple. But every time I say I love you seriously, I will still be as shy as a little girl. However, He Zhengnian still reacted coldly as usual. He nodded gently to show that he knew, and then pushed the door and left. He never said any sweet words, as if the 3 words, I love you, were something he was too ashamed to say. The door was closed tightly, as if it took away the last bit of life. In the huge house, I was the only one left in an instant. I hugged my legs and buried my head in my arms, as if this would give me a little sense of security. In the 1st year of high school, I fell in love with He Zhengnian, who won many championships in the school sports meeting and was shining. But He Zhengnian was recognized as a cold school idol in the whole school. He had a wealthy family, a perfect figure and appearance, and even his studies were always the first in the grade. There were too many people who liked such a perfect person. Compared to him, I was just an inconspicuous one. But definitely, I was the hardest worker. In order to keep up with He Zhengnian, I studied hard and finally got into the same university as He Zhengnian. The #1 Beijing university in the country. I also tried my best to join all the clubs he joined. Just to have an excuse to spend more time with him during the dinner. Finally, I got the chance and was responsible for sending the drunk He Zhengnian home after the dinner. He came from a prominent family and was a famous young master in Beijing. He lived in a villa next to the school when he first entered university. After sending him to bed with difficulty, I looked at his sleeping face. The eyelashes were long and slightly closed. The high nose bridge and thin lips were as perfect as sculptures. I couldn't help it and leaned forward to kiss him quietly, but was caught by the drunken He Zhengnian, who responded very enthusiastically. I was confused and infatuated. So, I quietly climbed into bed. After everything happened naturally, I pretended to be pitiful and asked He Zhengnian to take responsibility. He Zhengnian agreed and married me. We have been married for 3 years now. But I am getting more and more unhappy. At first, I could still comfort myself. Even if he didn't love me, He Zhengnian got off work on time every day, never got tired of my body, and our married life was always harmonious. Maybe if I just work hard, maybe he will fall in love with me one day. However, since Xiao Qingqiu appeared, my sense of uneasiness is getting worse and worse. When I was in high school, Xiao Qingqiu was the school beauty, always ranked second, and often appeared in pairs with He Zhengnian. Now, He Zhengnian has just succeeded his enterprise. Xiao Qingqiu has become an international film queen. They are so well matched in terms of appearance and status. And I felt like a clown. Just as I was daydreaming about the past, feeling helpless, a message came from my phone. I saw that I had instantly become a daughter-in-law. The message was sent from my high school class group. Someone specifically tagged me in a message. It was a video news. The Prince of He group brought Xiao Qingqiu as his female companion to attend the tonight's film and television industry party, suspected of having a love affair with someone else. In the video, it was He Zhengnian and Xiao Qingqiu. They walked out of the luxury car on both sides. He Zhengnian, wearing a straight black suit, naturally bent his arms, and Xiao Qingqiu, wearing a dark purple luxurious dress, also naturally took his hand. Xiao Qingqiu smiled brightly, more beautiful than in college, and added a bit of mature and charming temperament. And He Zhengnian, who always had a cold face. But he rarely raised his lips and smiled gently. After watching this video, I just felt like my heart was being cut by a knife. The conversation in the classmate group made me feel even worse. What's going on? Didn't He Zhengnian marry that guy? Shameless mistress, Jiu Yinshan. It was her who broke up the couple I had been supporting for 3 years. I hate her so much. She deserves it. He Zhengnian must have regretted marrying her. She must have been abandoned. After going around in circles, true love is still the first love of the past. The male god should be paired with the goddess. At Jiu Yinshan, come out and say something. Your husband is attending the banquet with someone else. What about you? Is he under the car or under the bed? The group laughed. I burst into tears instantly. The thing I feared the most still happened. This was not a celebration banquet, but a rather formal evening party in the film and television industry. All the celebrities and top stars related to the entertainment industry will attend. This should have been an occasion for me to attend, but Xiao Qingqiu was brought instead. The answer is self-evident. Chapter 2 Countdown. Next. Someone in the group sent another video, which was an interview. The reporter took the microphone and asked He Zhengnian, Mr. He, what kind of girl do you think you like most? He Zhengnian smiled, girls who sparkle like stars. Reporter, isn't that a big star like Xiao Qingqiu? Sorry, Qingqiu is of course excellent, but I'm married. He Zhengnian waved his hand, did not answer directly, and indicated the next question. My face darkened, and I turned off my phone in silence. Once, he clearly said that he liked obedient girls the most. So I restrained all my ambitions and was willing to become a full-time housewife for him. No matter what he asked, I would not refute. But why did the type of girl I liked suddenly change after 3 years of marriage? Is it really because of Xiao Qingqiu? Big stars, even fools know who I am talking about. I sighed softly, and my nose was red from crying. I couldn't even describe what I felt in my heart. He Zhengnian's heart is no longer here. I continue to guard him. Is there any meaning? Unlike the me who used to pursue love obsessively, I am now much more timid, and I don't have so much sincere and firm love. I have been married since my senior year. I am already 27 years old. I just want to have a warm and happy family, someone who loves me sincerely. Someone I won't sacrifice too much for, and even lose myself in the end. Actually, I am not bad. In high school, because I studied hard, my dress was rustic, and I was not very conspicuous in a crowd. But since I went to college, in order to match He Zhengnian, I learned dance to exercise my beautiful and graceful figure. Learn skincare, makeup and matching to make myself look more beautiful. At the same time, I dare not fall behind in my studies. before He Zhengnian and I were together. I was also a famous beauty and academic bully in the school. But He Zhengnian's halo was too bright. No matter how hard I tried, I could never catch up with him. I opened Weibo and looked at their group photos. I just felt a little sore in my eyes. The person who was out of my reach. Xiao Qingqiu could always walk side by side with him. Even if I stopped their meeting today, what would it matter? I could stop it once. I couldn't stop it for tens of thousands of times afterwards. If I could choose again, I think I would definitely not choose to send He Zhengnian home that day. Now. It's time for me to leave. I adjusted my mood. I got up and packed my luggage. The things I had to take away were simple, just some clothes. And the doll that He Zhengnian handed to me after welcoming me at the school garden party in my senior year of high school. CJ7. Time has made its originally white for yellow and looked dirty. After hesitating, I still took it away. I have been ignored for so many years. I can't let it stay here and continue to be pitifully ignored. I carried my luggage downstairs. I saw a familiar car turning in, and I quickly hid behind it. It was He Zhengnian's car. It stopped downstairs. He Zhengnian got out of the car and told the driver to send the other person back. The back door suddenly opened. It was Xiao Qingqiu. Her cheeks were slightly red, and her beautiful eyes seemed to contain a little drunkenness. Her hands hooked around He Zhengnian's neck, and her red lips were raised. Everything was so similar to the day when I seduced He Zhengnian. I couldn't bear to watch any more. Turned around and quietly walked into the darkness. Just leave like this, give He Zhengnian freedom, and let him pursue the happiness he wants. I went to Jushan Island. That's where we once went on a graduation trip. It's also here. I just finished the college entrance examination and I boldly confessed to He Zhengnian again. But he didn't respond, but looked at me quietly. The mockery and insults from my classmates made me not dare to wait for his answer, so I fled. Just when I fled to a place where no one was and cried quietly, He Zhengnian appeared again. He said that he hadn't thought about it yet and said to give him some time. This answer made me mistakenly believe that He Zhengnian also had feelings for me. After going to college, I became more persistent. Returning to the old place. My mood was extremely complicated. Step by step, I walked to the place where I once cried quietly. It was a small cliff, and under my feet was the surging sea tide, which hit the reef vigorously and smashed it to pieces. In a trance, I suddenly heard hurried footsteps behind me. As soon as I turned my head, I saw a tall man rushing over and pushing me off the cliff with force. I only had time to see his ferocious face before I sank into the sea. Who? Why did you want to kill me? With a heart full of doubts, I suddenly opened my eyes and screamed subconsciously. Help! But what caught my eye was a blackboard full of math problems. And the classmates around me in blue and white school uniforms looked at me with disgust. Ji Yinshin, what are you yelling about? Don't you know this is a self-study class? I need to study quietly. It's so annoying. The last one is the last one. I got lucky and got into the special class by chance, but my character is still not good. What's going on? I opened my mouth in a daze. But I heard the familiar, low, and slightly magnetic male voice coming from beside me. What's wrong with you? I turned my head. It turned out to be He Zhengnian. To be precise, it was him in high school. With neat short hair, sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, and fair skin, he even looks better than a girl. There are some green and tender stubble on his lips. But he doesn't look sloppy, but adds a bit of cuteness to his originally slightly cold face. You? I hesitated. Suddenly realized that I was reborn. I looked back at the blackboard again. College entrance examination, countdown 101 days. Tomorrow is the 100-day oath-taking meeting for the college entrance examination. I was reborn before the college entrance examination. Are you not feeling well? He Zhengnian frowned slightly. He stretched out his hand and wanted to touch my forehead. But I subconsciously stepped back as if I were avoiding a snake or scorpion. No, I'm fine, thank you for your concern. I hurriedly got up and started to pack my school bag. Under the strange eyes of the people around me, I walked directly to the empty seat in the last row with my school bag on my back. All the classmates were stunned and talked about it. Is Ji Yinshin crazy? She tried every possible way to successfully sit next to He Zhengnian. That's right. Since she came to our special class, she has been annoying and pestering He Zhengnian every day. What happened today? Did she give up after finding that she couldn't catch up with He Zhengnian? I think she is playing hard to get. If she could give up so easily, why would she cry and chase him for almost 3 years? They all suspected that I had bad intentions. Of course I wouldn't explain, and I breathed a sigh of relief. My deskmate was meeting Zhugong. I didn't have any impression of him, and I had forgotten this kind of person. But at least I could stay away from He Zhengnian. He Zhengnian also looked at me blankly. Chapter 3 Dark Clouds. I just vacated my seat. A girl came over with her school bag. He Zhengnian, can I sit here? I came here first. I'm not good at studying, I hope you can teach me. Would you like to sit at the same table with me? He Zhengnian stood up with a cold face. I like to sit alone. Several girls were like wilted flowers. He walked out of the door, looking unhappy. I looked at him and then looked away. Even though my heart would still ripple uncontrollably for him. But fortunately, I can control my actions and not get close to him. Live a new life. This time, I want to live for myself. I have to work hard to pursue my dreams, instead of always giving up myself for He Zhengnian. My deskmate is a sleeper. Until the end of the last physical education class. He didn't get up. I also knew better than to call him, and planned to take my lunch box to eat. But just as I stood up, I heard someone next to me yawn. What class is it? I'm going. He exclaimed. Under his slightly long bangs, he wore thick black framed glasses, and looked like a dead otaku. But I remembered this person's name. Bai Qian. He looked inconspicuous, lying on his stomach all day and sleeping without looking up. But in his senior year of high school, he was admitted to the Capital University of Fine Arts with the first place in the National Art Exam. Because this name was so frequently displayed in the group, I remembered it. Lunch break. After I answered, I turned around and left. Bai Qian quickly followed. Hey, Jiu Yinshan, don't you always like He Zhengnian the most? You pestered me to sit next to him as my deskmate. What do you mean by coming here and sitting next to me? Speak. He kept talking. I didn't want to answer him. But at the next corner of the stairs, I saw He Zhengnian and his friends. He was holding a basketball, and his white short-sleeved shirt was soaked with sweat. There were some water drops on his neat short hair. It was the same as his habit after playing basketball. I went back to the faucet next to the playground and rinsed my head to cool down. In the past, every time He Zhengnian played basketball, I would stay by his side, watching the whole process with starry eyes and cheering him on. After he rinsed his head with cold water, I would promptly give him a dry towel to wipe the water off because I was afraid that he would catch a cold. At this moment, he looked a little embarrassed without wiping the water off. Those eyes stared at me. If he had looked at me like this before, I would have blushed and even had my heart pounding. But now, I quickly looked away and smiled at Bai Qian beside me. Isn't it obvious what you mean? I'm not pursuing He Zhengnian anymore. I've given up. Are you not happy to be my deskmate? I don't care. Bai Qian replied subconsciously, I don't have a deskmate anyway, so it's just right to be together. Well, you like painting very much, right? Like Van Gogh. I smiled and said, I remember that the bookstore near the school just put up Van Gogh's paintings. Let's go and see. After that, I didn't say anything and dragged Bai Qian away. But when we passed by, I heard He Zhengnian's friends were unhappy and sarcastic. What does this mean? He was chasing our brother He so passionately before. I was touched by him after chasing him for more than 2 years. Now he turns around and likes someone else. What's so good about Bai Qian? He can't compare to our brother He at all. Hey, Bai, you dare to snatch a woman from brother He? The man looked threatening. After all, he likes playing basketball and has a muscular body. I thought Bai Qian would keep silent and felt sorry for dragging him into this. But he waved his fist at the man. Rob your sister. Are they together? No, it's her freedom to be with whomever she wants. I'm not afraid of you. Stupid. Bai Qian looked like a dead otaku, but he looked a bit gentle with glasses. But what he said was really poisonous. The faces of those people turned red with anger. But He Zhengnian didn't say anything. He glanced at me coldly, especially at my hand that was tightly holding Bai Qian, then retracted his gaze and strode upstairs. Hey, brother He. Wait for us. Watching them leave, I breathed a sigh of relief. Bai Qian beside me smiled. You're using me to block the knife, shouldn't you show some appreciation? Give me a copy of Van Gogh's paintings. I chuckled. I lied to you, sorry. You. Bai Qian gritted his teeth. Forget it, since you actually know that I like Van Gogh, I forgive you. Nonsense, because people who like painting 8 out of 10 like Van Gogh. Isn't that a guess? But after all, I took advantage of him, so I still felt a little guilty, so I treated Bai Qian to lunch. Next. For the whole afternoon, I didn't even look at He Zhengnian, and I concentrated on studying. The news that I gave up He Zhengnian had spread. Many girls began to pursue him crazily. Before, although he was not with me. But I was fierce enough. I drove away all those who came to pursue He Zhengnian, unless they were particularly brave, and there were people like Qiao Qingqiu who were popular, I could not stop them. Now that I gave up, He Zhengnian's drawer was filled with love letters in just one afternoon. After all, I have liked him for so many years. I know that he must be fed up with it now. I ran out of school immediately after school. But I suddenly found an embarrassing problem. Our school is an international high school. Those who come to study are either rich or noble, and there are foreign exchange students all year round. Usually, my family picks me up and drops me off at school. In order to spend more time with He Zhengnian, I always pestered him to take his car home. After a while, the driver got used to sending me home first and then He Zhengnian. So, I directly ordered the driver at home not to pick me up. This instruction has lasted for almost 3 years. Now, I stood at the door and was completely dumbfounded. There was no bus stop nearby. How could I get home if I didn't take He Zhengnian's car? Just when I was in a dilemma, I saw a white car parked in front of me. The rear window rolled down, and it turned out to be Bai Qian. Hey, little classmate, what are you daydreaming about? Can you give me a ride? I looked embarrassed. Bai Qian nodded without hesitation, sure. But just then, I heard a horn from the side. I turned around and saw that behind the Bai family's car, the He family's black car was following closely. The driver, Lao Zhen, smiled at me. Ms. Jiu, why don't you get in the car? I saw her in the back seat. He Zhengnian put on a stinky face and looked at me seriously. Then, he actually took the initiative to open the back door. When I was stunned, I heard Bai Qian muttering in front of me, I knew that what you said on the stairs today was all lies. You really still like He Zhengnian? I was used as a gun by you young lovers. Who said that? I came to my senses and opened the door of the Bai family's car and got in quickly. At the moment of opening the car door, I subconsciously looked back. He Zhengnian's face became uglier and uglier, as heavy as the heavy clouds before the storm. Chapter for selfish parents. Strange, what's that expression on his face? I'd been pestering him for so long, and now I'm letting go. Shouldn't he feel relieved? Could it be that he really thought I was playing hard to get? While I was thinking about it, Bai Qian laughed out loud. You kept saying you were giving up on He Zhengnian, but how come your heart wandered as soon as you got in the car? No. I sighed to myself, thank you so much for today, otherwise, I don't know how to get home. Bai Qian waved his hand indifferently, it's just a small matter. Soon, the car arrived at the gate of Gu's villa. As soon as I got off the car, I saw my parents walking towards me very enthusiastically and bowing in unison towards the back seat. Thank you for sending Xinshin back. Congratulations. As soon as my mother stood up, she saw that Bai Qian was the only boy in the back seat. The flattering smile on his face suddenly disappeared. After coughing twice, he continued, oops, sorry, I read it wrong. Thank you, classmate. After sending Bai Qian away, my mother hurriedly grabbed my hand and said, why wasn't it Mr. He who sent you back today? I walked into the entrance hall tiredly and slumped on the sofa with my whole body exhausted. Mom, he is the eldest son of the He family, how could he have time to send me home every day? Besides, our relationship is average, I won't bother him again in the future. My mother rolled her eyes, but the smile on her face remained the same. Hey, little girl, don't hide it. Do you really think your mother didn't see it? In the past 3 years, Mr. He has always dropped you off on the way back, and every time you smile like a flower. What happened today? Did you two have a fight? I quickly interrupted my mother's idea of bringing me up with He Zhengnian. Mom, we are not a couple, we are just classmates. When my mother heard this, she smiled even more amiably. Okay, we're just classmates. Dinner. I sat at the dining table, looking at the Australian Wagyu beef, French foie gras, Norwegian salmon and the steaming king crab in the center, with a smile full of sarcasm in my eyes. My mother also looked at the sumptuous dinner and murmured, I heard you say some time ago that Mr. He likes to eat king crabs. Your father used his connections to airlift this freshest thing here this morning. Shinshin, Mom remembers that you are allergic to seafood. So I prepared other imported ingredients for you. It's a pity that Mr. He didn't come today. My father finally spoke, but his tone was full of condemnation and suppressed anger. Shinshin, let's forget it this time. Find another time, preferably on the weekend, and ask Mr. He to come home. I know very well that they now want to use the relationship between me and He Zhengnian to directly bind the He family. But I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. I just perfunctorily said, Mom and Dad, I've already thanked him privately. You don't have to make such a big fuss. If you cause young master his disgust, wouldn't that be counterproductive? A hint of displeasure appeared on my mother's face, but she still patiently persuaded me. You are good classmates. As parents, we should have cordially invited him to our home. Besides, Mom and Dad have long known that you have always had a crush on Mr. He. We also thought that we could take advantage of the opportunity to have a meal together and be your assistant. Looking at my parents who are eager for quick success, I feel very confused. Why are my parents so enthusiastic today and want to get closer to He Zhengnian? I sat upright and looked at the two elders seriously. Dad, Mom, He Zhengnian and I are just ordinary classmates. Don't get me wrong. I will not have any contact with He Zhengnian in the future, so please stop thinking of making friends with him. My father finally couldn't suppress his anger anymore, and he glared at me angrily. To tell you the truth, Mr. His identity is not ordinary. I'm afraid he's not the son of an ordinary wealthy family. The company has a loan of 500 million yuan, but I have not been able to get the loan for a whole year. Just yesterday, I got the loan successfully. The bank's president told me openly and secretly that he approved the deal just because of Mr. He. Since you have a classmate with such a great background, you must learn to curry favor with him and have a good relationship with him. It would be best if you could just become his girlfriend. This is your duty as the daughter of the GU family. I looked at my parents who only saw profit in their eyes, and all I felt was disappointment in my heart. It turned out that he had already discovered that He Zhengnian's identity was not simple. And he also benefited from it, and now he wanted to tie me directly to He Zhengnian. I couldn't help but sigh and said kindly, Dad, this loan was suddenly approved. Aren't you afraid there's something fishy going on? What if someone wants to cheat our GU group? My dad slammed the table and shouted impatiently, You're just a high school girl, what the hell do you know? Your mother and I started from scratch, and we have been down to earth at every step. Every business of the GU group is done steadily and we will never be cheated. With this loan, GU's company can expand its scale. It's a very profitable business. He. Expanding? A full loan of 500 million was invested. A month later, the entire industry underwent a reform, resulting in GU's loss of more than 1 billion yuan. In the end, the entire GU family was lying on the young master of the He family, sucking his blood and losing his money. It's hard to persuade the damn ghost with kind words. I simply stood up and said, Dad, as a high school student, I really don't understand the business world as thoroughly as you do. But if you rush for quick success, the results will definitely not be satisfactory. Take care of yourself. After all, in this life, I will never find a sucker to suck your blood again. Shinshin, you haven't eaten yet. My mother also became anxious and stood up to hold me back. I shook my head, no, I'm losing weight. Watching him slowly walk up the stairs, my dad's face became increasingly gloomy, and he directly growled and ordered, You must invite He Xiao to your home this weekend. I turned around and looked at him expressionlessly. He Zhengnian and I have already drawn a clear line. Give up this idea. You damn girl, you deserve a beating. My father was so angry that his face turned red and he picked up a feather duster and was about to come over to beat me. Hubby, Shinshin has her own ideas, so just let her do what she wants. My mother held my father's hand and said softly, The loan has been approved. We can find another opportunity to visit the He family in the future. Why do you have to make things difficult for your daughter? Women have long hair but short knowledge. My father growled, if I could marry Mr. He to be his son-in-law. After returning to the room, I closed the door tightly, trying to block out the sound of their calculations. Chapter 5 New Bookstore. The room is decorated in pink and tender colors, and every detail shows that my parents have loved me with all their heart. When I was young, I once thought that I was lucky to be born in such a loving family. My parents are from High City. After they got married, they came directly to Beijing City and started from scratch, developing a small shop into a big company. Today, the GU family has assets worth hundreds of billions, and is considered a well-known family in Beijing. 10 years ago, my parents spent 100 million to buy this villa. We also hired for live-in nannies and 3 drivers from the housekeeping company. Life is very comfortable. When I was in primary school, my parents arranged for me to attend an aristocratic junior high school. In order to better connect with high schools abroad, I also established connections in advance. In my 3rd year of junior high school, I met He Zhengnian, a transfer student, and fell in love with him at first sight. I began to rebel against my parents' arrangements and tried my best to stay in the country and attend an international high school. After some investigation, my parents suddenly changed their attitude and agreed to let me stay in the country. At that time, I just thought my parents were respecting my wishes. But in my previous life, I had just received my marriage certificate when I accidentally overheard my parents' conversation. It turned out that my dad once wanted to beat me up with a belt in order to stop me from going to an international high school. Later, my mother sent someone to investigate, and came back to persuade my father. The students in international high schools are either rich or noble, and each of them is an outstanding person. If the He family can get connected with one of them, the He family will never have to worry about becoming bigger and stronger. After He Zhengnian was admitted to Peking University, I finally got to be with him as I wished. After the marriage, his parents began to lie on He Zhengnian's body and suck his blood continuously. Just as I was thinking about it, there was a knock on the door. "Shinshin, Mommy has something to talk to you about." I really wanted to refuse, but my mother had already pushed the door open and walked to the bed with a plate of my favorite chestnut cake. Then, the nanny brought in a cup of hot milk and a plate of cherries, and after leaving, she considerately closed the door for us, mother and daughter. "I didn't eat anything tonight, you must be hungry. Your father is just that stubborn. Don't bother with him." My mother stroked my hair gently, but there was calculation in her eyes. "But I've also seen Mr. He. He has thick eyebrows and big eyes, and is handsome. He's definitely a school idol. Why does my Shinshin suddenly dislike him?" Looking at my drooping eyelids and listless expression, my mother sighed softly. "He has a good family background, is handsome, and has a good background. There are no girls around him. Such a boy should be very self-disciplined." I suddenly raised my eyes and said in a cold tone, "Mom, you also know how to keep yourself clean. Then stay away from those men." My mother's smile froze on her face, and then she tentatively said, "Shinshin, don't joke with your mother." I picked up a piece of chestnut cake, took a few bites, and then slowly spoke. "Mom, I know all your private affairs." Hearing this, my mother's face turned red and white, and all her previous tenderness and consideration disappeared. There was only a sinister look on his face. "How did you find out?" I shook my head. It wasn't me who looked it up. It was those female classmates who were also pursuing Mr. He and had prominent family backgrounds who looked it up. My mother was visibly panicking and grabbed my hand. "Why are they?" Looking at her pale face, I sighed. Because I was too close to He Zhengnian, they hired a professional private detective to investigate our family in order to warn me. "You frequent nightclubs, keep 5 or 6 gigolos, and even had an abortion because of them. The photos they sent me even showed you with a few men." My mother interrupted me with a trembling voice, "Enough. In fact, all this dirty laundry was uncovered by those rich girls who had coveted him for years after He Zhengnian and I got our marriage certificate in my previous life." Coincidentally, the day the scandal broke, my mother had just been diagnosed with the HPV virus. The He family is so noble that they definitely want to acknowledge me as their daughter-in-law. As a result, my wedding with He Zhengnian was directly cancelled, and I became ashamed that the He family did not want to mention. My mother took a deep breath and looked at me cautiously. "Your father? He?" I sneered. "He has more than 20 female college students as mistresses, big and small, and even an 18th-tier actress. There are countless illegitimate children." My mother's eyes darkened and her hands clenched into fists involuntarily. Since you two have no feelings for each other anymore, why not just get a divorce? To protect each other like this will only do harm to you and the GU family. My mother bit her lip and said nothing more. When he got up to leave, he seemed to have something to say to me. He stood at the door and looked at me for a long time, but in the end he didn't say anything. I knew she wanted me to keep her secret. Why bother? Early in the morning, I just got up and received a WeChat message from Bai Qian. My deskmate, there's a new bookstore opening in Nanluo Guxiang. Didn't you say yesterday that you would give me 2 Van Gogh paintings? Let's go shopping together. I yawned. Good. Bai Qian replied immediately. I'll pick you up now. I smiled and said, no, you go first, I'll pack up and be there soon. Buying a collection of paintings costs a lot of money. Probably because I rejected my parents' unreasonable request yesterday and saved my mother's face, so they didn't transfer me living expenses. But it doesn't matter, I have my own little treasury. After dressing up simply, I called my driver Uncle Lee and set off directly. Along the way, I was looking at high school study materials. After all, I was reborn at the age of 27, and I have almost forgotten a lot of knowledge I learned in high school. If I wanted to maintain or improve my grades, I had to go back to high school. Ding dong, a message came from WeChat. When I clicked on it, I saw it was a photo sent by Bai Qian. Oh my god, the book bar in Nanluo Guxiang has just opened and so many people have come to support it. And all the top students from our international high school are here. Take a picture of you. The photo should have been taken by Bai Qian standing across the street. Jiyuan Bookstore. Most of the customers are students from international high schools, and they are all familiar faces. Especially the cold and aloof figure in the crowd, which is particularly familiar. It's the perfect time to celebrate the new year. If I were to show up at the bookstore at the same time, he would definitely think that I was playing hard to get. So, the best solution now is to cancel the appointment. Uncle Liu, let's go to the mall instead of the book bar. Yes, miss. Uncle Liu turned the car around. At this moment, Bai Qian made a voice call directly. My little classmate, why haven't you arrived yet? Chapter 6, Shopping in the Mall. I was just about to tell him that I wasn't going to the bookstore anymore. Then I heard He Zhengnian's voice faintly coming from the other end of the phone. We've bought the books, let's go. I was very happy. This great god finally left, so I could keep my appointment on time. I smiled awkwardly and said, I'll be there in a moment. Bai Qian was very excited, hurry up. There are so many Van Gogh paintings here. It's really a book club with a strong background. There are so many good things. After hanging up the phone, I asked Uncle Liu to turn the car around and take me to the bookstore. As soon as I got off the car, I was shocked by the scene in front of me. A word comes to my mind, huge crowds of people. Even though Jiyuan Bookstore covers an area of 500 square meters, it still cannot withstand the enthusiasm of these academic masters. When I got closer, I found that the book bar was divided into many areas. The most eye-catching one is the area where high school students predict the questions. I saw Bai Qian sitting there from a distance, flipping through the collection of Van Gogh's paintings out of boredom. Although Bai Qian loves art, he is also a hidden academic master. Below the collection of paintings, there are 17 or 18 collections of exercises on various subjects. I walked up to him and asked, have you picked everything? Bai Qian took a picture of the question set proudly. This is a treasure book, right? There are so many good things in it. If I don't act sooner, they will all be snatched away. As he said this, he pushed all the question sets in front of me. Here, to thank you for giving me the Van Gogh album, I fought hard to get it for you. I was a little touched, thank you. Because of the memories from my previous life, I picked out a few exercise books from the bookshelf to consolidate my basic knowledge. After paying the bill with Bai Qian and heading out the door, I ran into a group of classmates. He Zhengnian stood in the crowd, looking at me calmly. His closest brother Lu Lingfeng was very warm to me. I didn't expect to run into you guys in the book bar. Bai Qian rolled his eyes. This is the newly opened bookstore. As high school students, it's normal to meet here. Lu Lingfeng frowned. I'm talking to Ji Yinshan, why are you butting in? He Zhengnian was looking at Bai Qian and me with a gloomy face, as if he was suppressing his anger. I feel a little helpless. What is this expression? Please, I didn't mean to run into you. Please don't think that I am playing hard to get. I really have no idea about you. I glanced at him indifferently and clenched my fists nervously. We are all classmates. Why bother arguing over such a small matter? Bai Qian crossed his arms, stared at He Zhengnian, and asked directly, didn't you buy the books? Why did you turn back again? Lu Lingfeng stood up and pointed to the shopping mall behind. We finally have a weekend off, so we plan to go shopping at the mall out back. Would you two like to join us? Several female classmates looked at each other, walked up and suggested with a smile, let's go together, Ji Yinshin. There are several stores in the mall that have received many new styles of skirts. We can go for a walk. Yes, and perfume. Several male students at the back began to complain in a low voice. When going out to play, I have to go shopping with my female classmates. It's not fair. Lu Lingfeng glanced at them, then looked at He Zhengnian in a servile manner. Mr. He, what do you think? He Zhengnian had a blank expression on his face, and his inquiring gaze fell directly on me. Lu Lingfeng was a smart guy and understood it immediately. Ji Yinshin, let's go together. I shook my head and refused. I still have questions to answer. I really don't have time. Lu Lingfeng blinked in surprise. Ji Yinshin, you really aren't going. Mr. He will go shopping with your female classmates. If you miss this village, you will miss this store. Seeing Lu Lingfeng inviting me again, several female classmates hurried forward and grabbed me. Just spend an afternoon strolling, it won't interfere with your studies. Let's go together. However, Bai Qian quickly pulled me over and stepped forward to protect me. If you want to go shopping, just go by yourself. Why do you have to drag Ji Yinshin along? The college entrance exam is coming up soon, and she's still giving me extra lessons. I also smiled and declined, thank you all for your invitation. I'm so sorry to spoil your fun. Bai Qian and I bought a lot of new question sets. We really want to solve the questions as soon as possible, so we left first. Hearing this, Lu Lingfeng's mouth twitched. After saying that, I took Bai Qian and turned away. Everyone looked at my resolute back in confusion and began to discuss in a low voice. What's going on? Is Ji Yinshin really going to give up pursuing He Xiao? In the past, wherever Mr. He was, she would be eager to use 502 glue to stick him there. Today, young Master He tacitly agreed to accompany us shopping, but she didn't follow us. Seeing how close she is to Bai Qian, could it be that she has changed her crush? Go away, stop talking nonsense. The discussions behind me gradually faded away. Along the way, I clearly felt a cold gaze following my back. My heart was pounding like a drum and I got into the car as if escaping and went back to school. In the following period of time, I worked frantically on practice questions and made up for the missed lessons. I memoized all the basic science knowledge that I had missed. During this time, Bai Qian kept asking me questions. I also patiently explained it to him. In the suffocating life of senior year in high school, we supervised and helped each other, and actually felt a little relieved. Soon, the last mock exam before the college entrance examination arrived. After 2 days, I was so nervous that I couldn't sleep well. With dark circles under his eyes, he kept dozing off during class meetings. It wasn't until the head teacher handed out report cards to everyone that I managed to cheer up. Oh my god, Ji Yinshin actually scored 145 points in Chinese this time. I got full marks in English. But this math score is only 98. TSK, the female voice really is not sensitive to numbers. However, why is Ji Yinshin's comprehensive science score so strange? Yeah, he used to get full marks in science, how come he only got just enough to pass this time? She even threatened to follow He Xiao to get admitted to Peking University. It's really just a fool's dream. I listened to my classmates commenting on my grades, but I felt calm. After all, I was reborn, picked up my high school textbooks again, and studied hard for nearly a month. It's very good to get this score. However, before I said anything, Bai Qian became anxious. What the hell are you doing there? Don't you see that Ji Yinshin got full marks in English, and it's unavoidable that she will perform poorly in science occasionally? What's the big deal? Some students were not convinced. She was admitted from an international junior high school. She has a good foundation. There's nothing strange about that. Besides, with her total score, she can barely get into a second-rate 211 university. The sound of quarrels continued. I couldn't stop Bai Qian. I had to run to the corridor alone to look at the math problems. When I was looking for solutions to a problem, I could always feel a vague gaze falling on me. But when I looked everywhere, I couldn't find it at all. Chapter 7, Passive Test Papers. The next day. As soon as I arrived at the classroom, I was surprised to find that my test papers in various subjects had signs of being tampered with. Bai Qian, did anyone just move my desk? Bai Qian was confused. I don't know, I just fell asleep. Looking at his sleepy state, I shook my head helplessly. The physics teacher walked into the classroom, took out a thick, bound A4 roll of paper, and distributed it to each student one by one. This material is the key knowledge that all our physics teachers specially summarized before the exam. There are also classic question types on it. You must memorize them all before the college entrance examination. Lu Lingfeng stood up and teased. Teacher, you have such a good thing, why didn't you take it out earlier? While speaking, he did not forget to glance at me. It makes me confused. Yeah, if I had taken it out earlier, maybe I could have scored 20 more points in this mock exam. Teacher, if I don't do well in the college entrance examination, I will rely on you and ask you to guide me when I repeat the year. The student started to joke with the teacher. You little guys, stop making fun of me. Hurry up, everyone, hurry up and memorize these key knowledge points. In my previous life, my physics teacher never summarized the knowledge points before the college entrance examination. Could it be that because I was reborn, a butterfly effect occurred? Is this what caused the trajectory of many things to change? Also, classmate Jiu Yinshan, I want to focus on your evaluation this time. Your test scores this time are too biased. I just passed the comprehensive science exam. Even if the scores fluctuated a lot, I shouldn't have gotten this bad. You must memorize these knowledge points carefully. The teacher looked at me with a smile on his face, as if he was enjoying himself. I am completely confused. What's going on? Physics teacher, how are you? What I never expected was that the chemistry teacher also gave the whole class a summary of key knowledge notes. I read it carefully and found that the handwriting and annotation style were very familiar. This is not He Zhengnian's. Their head teacher even took the initiative to call me to the office. Relax, the college entrance exam is coming up, the worst thing to do is to be overly nervous, understand? I nodded gratefully, got it, thank you teacher. Jiu Yinshan, you are a dark horse in our class. You must keep your mind steady. Also, these are the math notes summarized by the provincial top scorer from last year and the year before. Study it carefully. Maybe it will be useful in the college entrance examination. I looked at the thick stack of notes in my hand, feeling confused. What's going on? Is this my homeroom teacher telling me to slack off? A custom-made personal note just for me. Back in the classroom, I read it carefully again. As expected, there were traces of He Zhengnian all over it. I just felt very weird deep down. It is really hard to figure out what the teacher and He Zhengnian are doing. There was no time to think too much, I just frantically absorbed these key knowledge points. Afraid of falling behind. It was noon that day. Just after lunch break, my phone suddenly vibrated. I clicked on it and saw it was a money transfer text message. Then came a call from my mother. Shinshin, Mom has been too busy recently, so I just remembered to transfer living expenses to you. Not enough money, right? Why don't you take it from me? In the past, I was only busy chasing He Zhengnian and spent too much money. Basically, I ask my mother for 100,000 yuan for living expenses every week. Now, since I've been away from him, I've put all my attention into studying and I'm not short of money at all. So I completely forgot to ask my mother for living expenses. I subconsciously glanced towards the back row. He Zhengnian seems to have not come to school for a month. Thank you, Mom. The college entrance examination is coming soon, and I have been concentrating on studying. I didn't check whether the money was enough. My mother reminded me distressedly, you should also take care of yourself. Mom will not disturb you from studying. The day of college entrance examination soon arrived. My mother actually found the dormitory directly. He even brought me a nutritious breakfast and asked about my well-being. Looking at her sincere and enthusiastic eyes, it seemed that the previous shrewdness and calculation were no longer there. She kept sending me to the exam room, and her nervous forehead was covered with beads of sweat. Shinshin, keep going. No matter what your score is, Mom will always be your supporter. Looking at her firm and gentle eyes, my heart seemed to be shaken. Maybe she really has changed. The day after the college entrance examination, I just got home and received a call from Bai Qian, my little deskmate. Oh no, I just left the examination room today and I felt my whole body stiff. It became difficult to walk. I even felt chest tightness and difficulty breathing, like I was suffocating. I've gone to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said I was mentally overly anxious and prescribed me some medicine. I took 2 pills in a row, but it still didn't work. The doctor finally said there was nothing I could do and I had to go home and rest. I can't go to the exam tomorrow. A cheerful and sunny big boy, his voice at this moment was full of grievance and unwillingness. I thought about it for a moment. Which hospital are you in? Tell me the ward number and I'll come find you later. Okay, I'll send you a message on WeChat. After hanging up the phone, I hurried to find my mother. Where is my uncle? Where is he? When I take the college entrance examination, my uncle who loves me so much should have come to Beijing. But he hasn't appeared in the past 2 days. My mother walked out of the room with a facial mask on. He just arrived this afternoon and has just checked into a hotel near your college entrance exam school. Oops. When he came, he kept saying that he was afraid you might have an accident in the examination room, so he had to come and keep an eye on you. I wanted to wait until you finish your exam tomorrow before taking you out to play. How about asking your uncle to get together now? I shook my head. I don't have time to get together today. My mother looked understanding. Yes, you still need to review. You have an exam tomorrow. I hurried to the entrance and quickly changed my shoes. I need help from my uncle in an emergency. I remember that in his previous life, Bai Qian had health problems due to excessive nervousness and missed the exam on the last day. This resulted in him not getting satisfactory results in the college entrance examination, and he ended up having to choose a technical college. I went to the hotel with my uncle and went straight to the ward where Bai Qian was. Thank you, my dear classmate, for coming to see me. Bai Qian lay listlessly on the hospital bed. Looking at his red and swollen eyes, I sighed secretly. I leaned forward. Bai Qian, are you willing to believe me? Bai Qian blinked in confusion. I pulled my uncle to the bedside and introduced him to him with a smile. My uncle is a famous Chinese medicine expert. Maybe he can relieve your anxiety and tension. Bai Qian's eyes lit up, he sat up slowly and stiffly, and nodded heavily. Hello, uncle. Thank you so much, uncle. I clearly saw the corners of my uncle's mouth twitching slightly. He walked forward, took the patient's pulse, observed him carefully, and finally sat down in the chair calmly. It's nothing, just a few injections. Bai Qian looked at my uncle with shining eyes, and he was almost getting out of bed to hug his thighs. Chapter 8, Uncle steps in. Very good. Uncle, you are my savior. Bai Qian's originally pale face turned a little rosy due to excitement. However, Bai Qian's parents looked at my uncle hesitantly. The Zhongshan suit made his figure look particularly tall and straight. Her short hair is also styled very neatly and delicately, and her appearance is absolutely resistant to aging. In Beijing's upper-class society, there are few people more handsome than my uncle. Especially the expression that seemed indifferent to everything. There is also a faint scent of traditional Chinese medicine on her body. No matter how you look at it, he doesn't look like an ordinary person. Bai's mother still walked forward hesitantly. Excuse me. Sir, you said that a few injections would be enough, but how long will it take for the effects to show up? I heard that acupuncture can cause irreversible side effects. I would rather my child take the college entrance examination next year than be disabled like Qianer and regret it for the rest of his life. Father Bai also nodded, indicating that he had the same idea. I wonder if you are sure, sir. Have you ever seen this symptom before? Those old doctors with medical licenses are helpless, you. Every word the Bai couple said questioned my uncle's professionalism. It was obvious that they were worried about my uncle's background. I walked up to him and introduced him proudly. This is not only my uncle. He is also a ghost doctor in the field of traditional Chinese medicine who can cure the dead and turn flesh into bones, Xiaose. The reputation of ghost doctor Xiaose is unquestionable. Although he never showed his face. However, he is a frequent visitor on major media, Weibo and public accounts. The Bai couple's pupils shrank in shock. After being stunned for a long while, he hurried forward and shook my uncle's hand warmly. It turned out to be Mr. Ghost Dr. Xiao. It is our ignorance that has offended you. Bai's mother's eyes filled with tears. It is our Bai family's great honor to have you help us. No matter what the after effects are, as long as you help, we don't care. Father Bai also nodded and said, if there is anything else that needs to be prepared, just let me know. Bai Qian was also deeply moved. A big boy was so excited that he couldn't stop crying. Jiu Yinshan, you are so nice to me that you even invited the ghost doctor Xiao said to come. We will be good brothers from now on. No matter where you go, my Bai family will protect you. I waved my hand and said generously, don't say these polite words. Just call me big brother when we meet in the future. A burst of hearty laughter came from the ward. It was out of tune with the sad and depressing atmosphere of the hospital. Under my uncle's treatment, Bai Qian recovered in less than 20 minutes. The director-level doctors were all amazed. To express their gratitude, the Bai couple also gave my uncle a warm welcome. But they were all rejected. My uncle has a cold personality and the person he cares about most is me, his niece. He rarely paid attention to the rest. I held my uncle's arm and just walked to the hospital. I saw my mother rushing over. My mother walked forward nervously, with a hint of fear in her eyes. Brother. My uncle frowned and looked displeased. He responded casually and was about to leave, obviously not wanting to see my mother. My mother hurriedly followed in her high heels. I pulled my uncle, slowed down intentionally, and spoke with a smile. Uncle, we just got off the plane and rushed to the hotel. You must not have eaten yet, right? Why don't we go out and get something to eat? My uncle glanced at my mother and shook his head impatiently. I'm too lazy to go out to eat. I've been fasting lately. TSK. My uncle is still mad at my mom. I was so touched that I pursed my lips. She sobbed, trying to hold back her tears, and tightened her grip on her uncle's arm once again. Since I was a child, my uncle has treated me like his own daughter. If he knew in my previous life that I died so miserably, he would have been in unbearable pain. My mother took the opportunity to come forward and said, Brother, you are usually so frugal, so there must not be much money in the card. How about this, I'll treat you to this meal. I booked a private room in the hotel when I first arrived. When my uncle looked at my mother, his eyes turned cold again. What are you talking about? Even though I'm not as rich as you, I'm never stingy with Shinshin. From now on, Haisha and I will leave all our property to Shinshin. Besides, I can still afford to treat her to a nice meal. After being scolded by my uncle, my mother had no choice but to lower her head and dared not say anything more. I found a very famous restaurant nearby in Beijing. In the private room, the three of them sat around the dining table, each eating their meal with their own thoughts. Put down your chopsticks. My mother sighed quietly. Brother, I have already prepared the paperwork and plan to divorce him this month. My uncle frowned almost imperceptibly. Instead, I put away my phone in shock. Mom, are you serious? In the previous life, I remember that she and my dad played their own games. Occasionally, they would have a big fight because they found out that the other was cheating outside, but they never mentioned divorce. Even when he was at the end of his rope, my father went directly to the Australian market to gamble in order to make money quickly. In the end, he lost everything. In order to pay off the debt, the two of them worked together to suck He Zhengnian's blood while forcing his uncle to sell the Chinese medicine clinic in High City. The past is too painful to recall. On the contrary, now, my father has just got the 500 million yuan loan from the bank approved and is preparing to expand the scale of the company. My mother actually filed for divorce. Has fate really been rewritten just because I stayed away from He Zhengnian? Xiao Zhizhi, are you serious? My uncle was so excited that he started to stutter. Yes. My mother nodded with sobs. My uncle's eyes were red, he suppressed his anger, and spoke in a calm tone. You finally saw the true face of that old bastard. 20 years ago, despite Dad's objections, you insisted on marrying him. You stole all the money for Dad's heart transplant just to help that old bastard Jiu Qianlang do business. Did you know that when Dad died, he was still trying to persuade me not to hate you? Hearing this, my mother burst into tears. I silently handed my mother the tissue. It turns out that they have such an unknown past. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. My mother regretted her decision so much that her tears continued to flow, ruining her delicate makeup. My uncle sighed heavily. Are you all ready? Have you decided on the date for the divorce? I'll take you home. Hearing this, my mother threw herself into my uncle's arms with tears in her eyes. Big brother. After crying for a while, she finally said, I've already found a divorce lawyer. Once the divorce agreement is drafted and the property is clearly divided, I will directly file for divorce. It will probably take more than half a year. I lowered my eyelids and suddenly said, it just so happens that I will be officially 18 years old at that time. Chapter 9 Invitation to Dance. You don't have to worry about my custody anymore. I won't follow him, nor you. My mother's tears suddenly stopped and she looked at me in disbelief. Shinshin, how could you? That's great. My uncle interrupted my mother, his eyes filled with joy. Shinshin can follow me in the future. Although your uncle doesn't have hundreds of millions of assets like your parents, he owns a traditional Chinese medicine clinic that has been passed down from an aristocratic family, and he is highly respected in High City. I smiled and nodded, okay. Then I will follow my uncle from now on. After graduation, I went to the Chinese medicine clinic to help my uncle. My uncle nodded repeatedly and stroked my hair with satisfaction. Good. 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 I will support you from now on. You are not as vain as your mom and dad. Instead, you have the unique character of our Su family. Not bad. My mother wiped away her tears in embarrassment, the corners of her mouth twitching slightly. Brother, after the divorce, I also want to go back to the Xiao family. In front of my uncle, my mother is like a little girl. Casual. My uncle rolled his eyes, but there was a hint of smile in his eyes. You'd better not come back. Didn't your parents buy you a house overseas? I didn't sell it anyway. Just go live there by yourself, and don't bother me. My mother sniffed in grievance. Brother, I am your sister. The next day. On the third day of the college entrance examination, I finally finished the exam successfully. That night I followed my uncle back to High City. I learned a lot of medical knowledge from the doctors in the Chinese medicine clinic every day. I also learned how to identify Chinese medicine, as well as the pharmacology and effects of each medicine. Life is quite comfortable. Until half a month later. The school holds a graduation ceremony and every student must be present. I had to take a plane back to Beijing. The auditorium of the International High School is decorated in a festive manner. Students who have taken the college entrance examination gathered here. Girls who are turning 18 wear all kinds of dresses and put on exquisite makeup, looking beautiful and pleasing to the eye. The boys were all wearing gentlemen's suits and had their hair waxed, looking like successful people. I remember that in my previous life, I specifically begged my mother to customize a high-end dress a month in advance. The style is no different from a wedding dress, but the waist is adorned with hundreds of pearls and diamonds, making it particularly eye-catching at the graduation ceremony. The purpose is simple, which is to attract He Zhengnian's attention. However, I am now wearing a moon-white dress. She casually tied up her long hair and went straight to the auditorium without even putting on any makeup. My little deskmate. Bai Qian squeezed out of the crowd, walked over excitedly, opened his arms and gave me a big hug. I took a few steps back in embarrassment. Oh, men and women shouldn't touch each other. Bai Qian froze in place, smiled awkwardly and retracted his arm. Sorry, I was too excited and forgot about it. I went to your house to look for you a few days ago, but your uncle and aunt said you were not at home. I nodded. I went to Haisha. I stayed at my uncle's Chinese medicine clinic for a while. When Bai Qian heard about the Chinese medicine clinic, he started chattering excitedly. The Chinese medicine clinic must be fun, right? Take me with you to Haisha next time. I also want to visit the Chinese medicine clinic. I nodded lightly as a sign of agreement. Very good. Bai Qian's cheeks flushed with excitement. My uncle came to my rescue last time, and it made me feel a special feeling towards traditional Chinese medicine. When I get the chance, I will definitely bring a valuable gift to thank my uncle once again. Yeah, okay. I picked up a fruit at random and ate it together. Suddenly, I felt a cold gaze, which made me feel uncomfortable. I looked up subconsciously, and saw some classmates discussing their grades, and no one was looking at me. He reluctantly looked away, and when he turned around, he happened to meet He Zhengnian's gaze. I felt like I had received an electric shock and turned around quickly. At this moment, my heart was beating like a drum. My palms were sweating from nervousness. I have made up my mind several times to break up with him completely. But how can the double love from the previous life and this life be easily erased and forgotten? With a click sound, the door of the auditorium was pushed open heavily. Looking for the source of the sound, I saw the principal, vice principal, host, and teachers of various subjects and class teachers walking towards the podium. Soon, it was time for the student representatives to speak. He Zhengnian walked forward slowly, his custom-made pure white suit making him look particularly cool. His sharp facial features are exceptionally three-dimensional, and when combined with his cool demeanor, there is no sense of incongruity at all. From a distance, one could feel the aura of a giant thousands of miles away emanating from him. A total abstinence-oriented male god. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. It's no wonder that this man once made me lose myself. If I look at him for one more moment, I'm afraid my soul will be sucked away by him. In the auditorium, many female students were whispering with their parents. "Mom, he's the one I told you about, the eldest son of the He family, He Zhengnian. He has been the school's most handsome boy for 3 consecutive years. He has an IQ of 260, has a photographic memory, and gets full marks in every subject. Even the teacher has to ask him about his thinking when answering questions. In my freshman year of high school, I won the national championship in advanced mathematics and was directly admitted to Peking University. So cool. Mom, I want to marry her." "Yeah, Mom wants to too." What? Don't you have my dad?" That, Mom also wants you to marry him." Har har har. The girls burst into laughter, making the parents so embarrassed that he dared not look up. Soon, He Zhengnian finished his thought-provoking speech. But no one in the audience heard it clearly. Soon, it was time for dancing. Each boy will invite a girl to dance a duet to celebrate the graduation ceremony. Accompanied by the lively music, the students danced the waltz in pairs. Soon, He Zhengnian and I were the only students left standing in the audience. I took a few steps back in embarrassment. What to do? I want to escape. "Student He Zhengnian, you need to be more proactive." The principal smiled encouragingly. Hearing this, He Zhengnian walked forward, bent slightly, stretched out his hand, and made an invitation gesture. I swallowed hard. "Damn Bai Qian, where have you been? Why don't you invite me?" Under the urging of everyone, I mechanically stretched out my hand and placed it on his hand with difficulty. During the dance he led, I was so nervous that I made several wrong steps. Even stepped on him accidentally. 1 kick. 2 feet. 3. Wow, is this girl the school beauty? She's so pretty. Yes, Master He and I are a perfect match, made in heaven. Several parents gathered in groups to discuss the issue. By the way, I heard from my daughter some time ago that a female classmate was madly pursuing He Xiao. Could it be her? Chapter 10, the group photo looks like an artistic photo. Yes, that's her. She is not only good at studying, but also good looking and has a good family background. I heard that she was going to study abroad for high school, but after falling in love with He Xiao at first sight, she decisively chose to take the domestic college entrance examination. And the dance ended amid whispered discussions among classmates and parents. I quickly withdrew my hand and took 3 steps back. This distanced me from him. Looking at He Zhengnian's shiny leather shoes, they were all covered with my shoe prints. I chuckled twice. I'm so sorry. Also, I didn't just delay it until the last minute on purpose, waiting for you to invite me. I looked around carefully again. Bai Qian, you bastard. How come you are nowhere to be seen at this critical moment? I'm just waiting for my deskmate. When she raised her eyes, she met He Zhengnian's cold eyes that were slightly angry. I was so scared that I trembled. Well, bye. After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave. Please, don't get me wrong, I'm not playing hard to get. Do you like Bai Qian? He Zhengnian's cold questioning voice came from behind. I paused and subconsciously turned back to look at him. Why are you asking this suddenly? We are just good desk mates. Har, well, who I like has nothing to do with you. I was so nervous that my palms were sweating and even beads of sweat appeared on my forehead. If I stay here any longer, I'm afraid I'll lose my composure. Without waiting for He Zhengnian to respond, I lifted the hem of my skirt and walked to the other end of the crowd. Call. I let out a long breath. That was a close call. I almost exposed my thoughts. After picking up my graduation photo and high school diploma from my homeroom teacher, I returned to the car. Looking at the photo, I was sitting close to He Zhengnian with a bright smile on my face. A bitter feeling rose in my heart. Before my rebirth, in order to get close to He Zhengnian, I pushed away all the female classmates. Finally, I stood beside him awkwardly and took the graduation photo. So, in this photo, my hair is messy and my school uniform is wrinkled. In my previous life, in order to commemorate the only photo of the two of us together, I carefully cut out the two people in the photo and put it in a photo frame and stored it for several years. Just as I was stunned, my cell phone started vibrating wildly. When I clicked on it, my heart sank. In the senior year group, everyone is discussing crazily about me dancing with He Zhengnian at the graduation ceremony. I had already blocked the group. But I have set up special attention, so my phone will receive notifications as long as there is information related to He Zhengnian. Swipe to the top of the group chat. I saw a classmate sent a high-definition picture. This is exactly the angle of me dancing with He Zhengnian. How is my photography skills? Too deliberate, sister. Don't mention it, the photos you took look like artistic photos, they can even be framed. It's just that Gu Yinshan's story is too bland, what a pity. Eh? Why do I feel like there's a faint arc at the corner of Mr. His mouth? That's right, He Xiao really laughed. In the 3 years at school, I have never seen He Xiao smile. Go away, it must be a problem of angle. He Xiao doesn't like Gu Yinshan, so how could he smile? Oh, even if young Master Gu didn't laugh, then Gu Yinshan must have laughed out loud. After all, he had been pursuing young Master Gu for 6 whole years. Gu Yinshan, come and collect the pictures, no thanks. I have black lines all over my head. At this moment, I deeply understood the true meaning of social death. The people in the large group were having a great time chatting. Who will take my feelings into consideration? Now He Zhengnian must have believed that I was playing hard to get. Soon, the day of college entrance examination results came. Bai Qian sent me a text message, saying that he wanted to invite me to dinner to celebrate his high school graduation. I clicked on the location and saw that this was the Zhuanyuan building. This is my first time to Zhuanyuanlu. I thought Bai Qian just found a private room for 2, but when I came in I found that the table was so big that it could accommodate an entire class of students. I blinked in shock. How many people did you meet? Bai Qian laughed it off. Just the 2 of us. I found a chair and sat down, looking helpless. You ordered such a big table. Are you planning to eat lying on it? The smile on Bai Qian's face froze and the corners of his lips twitched slightly. Oh, you are too fanciful. At this moment, I suddenly heard footsteps coming from far away outside the door. Alarm bells suddenly went off in my heart. Suddenly, Lu Lingfeng's exclamation was heard from outside the door. Why is the air conditioner here broken? Mr. He, please wait here for a moment. I'll go talk to the waiter. Then, a group of people outside the door shouted that it was hot. I turned my head stiffly and looked at Bai Qian, who was standing beside me with a smug look on his face. You, what exactly are you? Bai Qian simply waved his hand to interrupt me. How is it, little classmate, are you satisfied with what I arranged for you? My face was full of question marks. Hey, let me be honest with you. You know, He Zhengnian was admitted to Peking University when he was in the first year of high school. Yes, I also learned from a business meeting that He Zhengnian is going to hold a banquet here today, and he will be accompanied by recommended students from other universities. In order to help you on your journey to pursue love, I specially booked a private room here a week in advance. Bai Qian raised his eyebrows and looked at me to seek credit. We sent someone to secretly break the air conditioner next door last night. I tried every possible way to help you find love. How about I be loyal to you? I twisted my neck stiffly and looked at him in silence, the anger in my heart rising. I'm not afraid of godlike opponents, but I'm afraid of pig-like teammates. Why did you do this? Bai Qian looked innocent. To repay you. If you hadn't found my uncle to give me acupuncture, I would have failed the college entrance examination. I took a deep breath. But I already said that I gave up chasing him. Bai Qian looked as if he understood everything. Hey, stop hiding your little thoughts. He reached out and patted my shoulder. Don't worry, I've arranged everything for you. My little deskmate, when you were chasing He Zhengnian every day, you looked so radiant. But when you decided to give up on him in your senior year, even your eyes became dim. In order to repay you, I will definitely try my best to fulfill your wish. As he spoke, Bai Qian's eyes couldn't help but darken. I choked up and pulled the corners of my lips, wanting to repay the gratitude. But I was afraid that once I opened my mouth, even my voice would tremble. Maybe it's because my eyes are red, I feel like my eyes are hot. Oh, look at you. Don't be too touched. If you like someone, you should chase him/her. That's in line with your personality. Chapter 11. Check the scores together. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. My sad mood suddenly disappeared. Bai Qian opened the door directly. The foreman, Lu Lingfeng, He Zhengnian and others rushed into the box. The foreman looked apologetic. Excuse me, both of you. The air conditioner in the private room reserved by these students is broken. The surrounding boxes are also packed with people. It just so happens that there are only 2 of you here. Would it be convenient for you to share a private room with these classmates? Just as I was about to refuse, I met He Zhengnian's cold gaze. Aren't these all familiar people? Lu Lingfeng put his arm around Bai Qian's shoulders. We are all in the same class. We can share a private room. You won't object, right? At this time, He Zhengnian's other good brother Pei Changnian also noticed me. Ling Feng. Didn't you say that Jiu Yinshan threatened to give up pursuing He Xiao a year ago? Why did you open a private room here? Could it be that you came here just to chase Mr. He and wait for him? Faced with Pei Changnian's teasing, I wished I could find a hole in the ground to crawl into. I spoke in a calm and confident manner. You misunderstood. Bai Qian booked a private room at Zhuangyuan building and invited me to dinner. You can go to the front desk to check. The group of people looked at each other and fell silent. Seeing this, Lu Lingfeng hurriedly spoke up to divert everyone's attention. And he led everyone to every seat in the box very naturally. Mr. He, sit here. Before I could come to my senses, He Zhengnian was invited to sit opposite me. In an instant, I felt the air pressure around me become extremely low, and even the temperature dropped sharply. From what I know about him, he was definitely angry. He must have thought that I arranged it on purpose just to keep pestering him. I sat upright. I dare not look at him any more. Today is the day when the college entrance examination scores are released. Jiu Yinshan, have you checked your scores? Pei Changnian asked curiously. I looked at my nose concerned, and nodded lightly, not yet. I see you brought a computer, why not just check it out? Then, everyone's eyes fell on me. I brought my computer too, little classmate, let's check it together. As he spoke, Bai Qian excitedly handed the computer to me, and he sat down and opened the computer interface. At this moment, I have been roasted on the fire. Helplessly, I had to open the computer interface and enter my admission ticket number. The computer interface is loading. Oh my goodness, my deskmate, I got 653 points. OMG! Bai Qian exclaimed excitedly. Pei Changnian and Lu Lingfeng also hurried forward, congratulations. With this score, it will be no problem to apply for a 985 or 211 university. Bai Qian, sure. I never realized you're actually a hidden academic genius. A group of people gathered around Bai Qian's computer and congratulated him. I also glanced at Bai Qian's computer. I am happy for him from the bottom of my heart. When I turned around, I happened to meet He Zhengnian's cold gaze, and I shrank away. At this moment, the door of the box was suddenly pushed open. Huh? Why are you in this box? Isn't it next door? The girl smiled cutely. A white gauze dress with diamonds dotted around the waist. Her long hair highlights her slender waist. It is so beautiful. Xiao Qingqiu. Chapter 12, You'll meet someone better. Lu Lingfeng exclaimed. Why are you here? Brother Zhengnian said there was a police station here, so I rushed here directly from the airport. Xiao Qingqiu sat next to He Zhengnian warmly, as if they were good friends who had not seen each other for many years. Weren't you just filming a new play in Hengjian? How do you have time? While they were chatting, I took a quick glance at my computer interface. Still loading. I had no choice but to shut down the computer. What filled my ears were everyone's concern and greetings for Xiao Qingqiu. Everyone's attention was on her, including celebrating the new year. If she continues to develop for a few more years, she will become a popular actress in the domestic entertainment industry. So, you can easily attract everyone's gaze and attention every time. In my mind, I will never forget the scene of He Zhengnian and Xiao Qingqiu being interviewed together in my previous life. And those heartfelt conversations. The feeling of sadness instantly occupied every cell in my body. My little deskmate, how many points did you get? Bai Qian suddenly came over and asked. I smiled bitterly, it should be pretty good. I swallowed, trying hard to swallow back the sobs and tears. You can't break down in front of so many people. Especially, in front of Xiao Qingqiu. Well enough. I lowered my eyes, got up and went to the bathroom. Women's restroom. He held ice water in both hands and poured it on his face. Even though the bone-chilling cold spread throughout my body, I still couldn't help shaking. In my previous life, my love for He Zhengnian made me humble to dust. I would even go so far as to tie him down with my child. I decisively gave up my favorite career. Cursed and hated by millions of people. Even being abandoned by everyone just to stay with him. In the end, I still have nothing. In the past year since my rebirth, I have finally calmed down. The moment he saw Xiao Qingqiu, he was completely devastated. I looked pale in the mirror. The ice water stuck my hair to my face, making me look really miserable. The me at this moment overlaps with the devastated me in the previous life. No. I can never go back to the track of my previous life. Get out of here. Only by staying away from Xiao Qingqiu and He Zhengnian can I live a good life. He took out a tissue and wiped his face roughly. Carrying the computer bag, he rushed out of the bathroom. Bang! My head seemed to hit something hard. The pain caused my sad emotions to burst out in an instant. I couldn't bear it any longer and squatted on the ground and cried bitterly. I cried for a long time. While wiping my tears, I actually caught a glimpse of a pair of high-end leather shoes. I looked up subconsciously. Happy New Year? He was looking at me with his head down and eyebrows raised. Why are you at the door of the women's restroom? My voice is incredibly hoarse at this moment. Jiu Yinshan. The cool voice seemed to soothe my mood. All the grievances and humiliations seemed to be forgotten. The whole world is occupied by the man in front of me. I saw his thin lips slightly opened. If you don't do well in the exam this time, you can repeat it. When you get into a good university, you can. I sneered, you can meet a man who is more handsome, richer, gentler and more considerate than you, right? In the past, every time I confessed my feelings, he would use this excuse to stop me. I didn't notice at all that He Zhengnian's face turned ugly because of what I said, and his eyes suddenly became cold and sharp. You don't have to repeat what you said before. Didn't I tell you that I have given up on you? I'm sure I'll find something better, thank you. Chapter 13. The class group exploded. After taking a deep breath, I turned around and went back to the ladies' room to wash my face. My eyes are swollen from crying, so ugly. I took a deep breath and finally calmed down. Then, without saying hello, I just walked past He Zhengnian who was standing at the door and left in big strides. After I got home, I checked my grades again. Blocked. Sure enough, I was close to the top 50 in the country. As expected, he was the top scholar in the province. I hesitated for a long time when filling out my application form. Finally, I decided to apply to the school that I most admired in this life. The next morning, I turned on my phone and saw. The class monitor actually arranged various small gatherings in the class group. There are even some funny activities like saying goodbye to senior high school life and going to KTV. I sent a message directly to the monitor. I will not participate in any of the following activities. Because it is not in this city. Then I became enemies in the class. I made countless enemies in the class. Among them is this beautiful rich second-generation class leader. After packing my luggage, I prepared to go directly to High City to find my uncle. As a result, as soon as I arrived at the airport, I saw someone at me in the group. Jiu Yinshan, you cried like this yesterday, is it because your grades are not good? The class monitor also said that you would not participate in the next activities. Did you hide somewhere and cry secretly? I rolled my eyes at the phone. Why are these people so boring? Do you only find fun in making fun of others every day? Just when I was about to lock the screen, I saw Bai Qian suddenly pop up in the group. You still don't know who our provincial champion is. Hey, you guys are just jealous, what great development can you expect from us in the future? Gu Yinxian's college entrance examination score this year is 742 points. Provincial number 1 scholar, do you know what that means? After seeing the message sent by Bai Qian, the group was silent for a while. Then a group of classmates sent me some yin and yang messages. I just watched them quietly. After all, my age in both lives combined is over 40. I really don't want to get involved in a verbal fight between these kids. Har har, don't you see that Gu Yinxian has been pestering He Xiao for more than 2 years? No matter what the topic is, you should ask it. Even if you are a fool with low IQ, after being taught by Mr. He, it will be a piece of cake for you to pass the provincial exam. Don't flatter Gu Yinxian. She only needs 1 plus 1 to get 2. She should go ask He Xiao why. Hey, you guys said that Gu Yinxian said before that she wanted to follow He Xiao and apply to Peking University together. I got the provincial top scorer this time, I will definitely apply to Peking University. This crazy woman finally got what she wanted. Mr. He is so pitiful. Even after going to college, he still can't escape Gu Yinxian's pestering. If I were Mr. He, I would definitely apply to a foreign school and stay away from Gu Yinxian. Why hasn't Gu Yinxian, the person involved, come out and speak yet? I guess she's just like a rat in the gutter, hiding. Now that we've spoken her true feelings, she must be scared. Bai Qian was so angry that he started to curse at them one by one. There are also many people who like the CP relationship between me and He Zhengnian, and they will stand up and speak for me. But they were a minority after all, and their words were quickly drowned out by the majority. No, why do you agree with the CP of Gu Yinxian and He Xiao? Our Mr. He has an official CP, Qingqiu. Stop talking nonsense. Chapter 14 Deleting WeChat Friends. Yes, even if Mr. He had a girlfriend, he would choose a naturally beautiful celebrity like Qingqiu. Go to hell, what big star, an 18th tier star. No matter what, Gu Yinxian is still a famous lady in Beijing's upper-class society. How can she not be worthy of He Xiao? Gu Yinxian's calculations are bullshit. He Xiao just likes Qingqiu. Qingqiu is our recognized school beauty. She and He Xiao are perfect match. Please stop making random accusations. I really enjoyed watching the quarrels and fights in the class group. However, I guess He Zhengnian must be busy with work and has no time to read group messages. However, the senior high school group was extremely active, which dazzled me. Just when I was about to close the group chat, I actually saw a person who was dissatisfied with the lack of speech suddenly sent a message. He Zhengnian, everyone shut up. Immediately afterwards, the large group was banned for 2 hours. I was shocked. People who I thought would not care about these little things actually took the initiative to speak in the group. I rubbed my eyes and looked at it carefully again. Did he really send it? I shuddered in disbelief. Bai Qian suddenly sent a WeChat message. My little desk mate, how about me, am I good? The corners of my mouth twitched, you are awesome. By the way, you got such a high score, are you planning to apply to Peking University? No, I applied to the school I always dreamed of attending. Bai Qian asked 3 question marks in a row. Is your dream university not Peking University? No, I'm getting on the plane first. Bai Qian, take care. After saying that, I went to check my ticket and boarded the plane. 3 hours later, I got off the plane and just turned off airplane mode when Bai Qian called me. My little classmate, where have you been? I went to High City to find my uncle. Okay, which school did you apply to? Secret. No way, little classmate, you don't even know that Lu Lingfeng has been sending me messages to inquire about your details. I'm getting fed up. Lu Lingfeng? How does he have the time to ask about me? Could it be He Zhengnian? No. Absolutely not. Suppressing the throbbing in my heart, I chuckled and said, okay, let's not talk about it for now. I just got off the plane and I have some stuff to take care of. After saying that, he hung up the phone. My uncle drove to pick me up personally. I was sitting in the passenger seat and opened He Zhengnian's WeChat chat box with great melancholy. He has always been my top priority. But he rarely replies to my messages. The mobile phone interface is full of green dialog boxes. The last time I sent a message was 1 month before I was reborn. Maybe it's because studying is too tiring and I feel like I can't hold on any longer. I took the initiative to send him a WeChat message, begging him to say something encouraging to me. I even said humbly, even if it's just for the sake of my classmates. Finally, He Zhengnian replied indifferently with 2 words, come on. Because of these 2 words, I worked tirelessly for a month without getting tired, and immersed myself in studying. The last message was what I sent him the day before my rebirth. I took the initiative to find him to set up the FL.AG. I must do amazingly well in the college entrance exam, get into Peking University, and study the same major as you. As a result, He Zhengnian has not responded so far. Forget it, there is nothing to worry about. In this life, I will completely draw a line between myself and him. Thinking of this, I deleted his WeChat directly. Chapter 15 by Chen is interviewed. In the following period of time, I received countless calls wanting to interview me. I rejected them all. There are many brands that want me to be their spokesperson. When we talk about Beijing's top scorer in the college entrance examination, who is renowned all over the world, they should become the representative of students all over the world. Such a tall hat. I was so scared that I hung up the phone. Just after lunch that day, I received a WeChat message from Bai Qian. Hurry up and read the college entrance examination news interview. Although I was a little confused, I still clicked on the Beijing news interview. Bai Qian was seen holding the admission letter from Peking University, and he couldn't suppress the smile on his face. The camera was almost pointed at his face. Dear student, you have been admitted to Tsinghua University. How do you feel about it? Bai Qian smiled, I dare not think of anything. Har har har, as long as you dare to think about it, just do it. Practice will show the truth. The host was also amused by Bai Qian's humor. Excuse me, has your goal always been to study fine arts at Peking University? Bai Qian shook his head. Speaking of this, I have to mention my little deskmate, Ji Yinshan. She is the top scorer in this year's college entrance examination. 1 month before the college entrance examination, my grades were always in the upper middle level, and I had no chance of getting into Peking University. But she took me to practice various difficult questions. If I didn't know how to do something, she would patiently teach me. During the college entrance examination, I became ill due to excessive anxiety. The hospital was helpless. It was she who invited a great master in traditional Chinese medicine to save me. I was able to successfully complete the college entrance examination. I am very happy to meet such a classmate in my life. She is my lucky star. The host was also very interested. Did Ji Yinshan also apply to Peking University? Are you a couple? There was a hint of regret in Bai Qian's eyes. She didn't apply to Peking University. I heard her accidentally reveal that she had enrolled in a traditional Chinese medicine university in High City, and was studying for a master's degree and a bachelor's degree. She had great prospects and room for advancement. Besides, we are good brothers, pure friendship. I chuckled and turned off the TV. The next second, my phone was bombarded with messages. Ji Yinshan, you applied to Haisha University of Traditional Chinese Medicine. Ji Yinshan, what's wrong with you? You're the top student in the province, but you didn't go to Tsinghua or Peking University. I heard that you applied to the University of Traditional Chinese Medicine. Peking University also has a College of Traditional Chinese Medicine. Why did you go to Haisha? I am still studying for a master's degree and a bachelor's degree at the same time. Let me count on my fingers how many years it will take. Suddenly, the squad leader, who regarded me as a thorn in her side, suddenly sent me a message. Everyone, please be quiet. In other words, does Ji Yinshan really stop pursuing He Xiao? She was rejected so many times when she confessed her love in high school, but she became more and more courageous. How could she be willing to give up? The study committee member was shocked. I feel like it's playing hard to get. The sports committee member sent an emoticon, rolling his eyes. JPG. Please, use your brains, you are already in college. Those people who denounced Ji Yinshan every day, I wonder if they feel hurt by this slap in the face. Is it possible that Ji Yinshan didn't like He Zhengnian from the beginning to the end? The sports committee member was a rich second generation, so he didn't take He Zhengnian seriously at all. We can look at this matter more objectively. The sports committee member's girlfriend also sent a message. I heard that many high school girls, because they are not sensitive in learning various subjects, specifically chase after top students to ask for extra lessons. Chapter 16, Teacher Appreciation Banquet. I got a high score in the exam, so I kicked the top student out. TSK, the more I watch, the more I feel that Gu Yinshan is following this script. The other students in the group were furious again. You mean, Gu Yinshan is a scheming bitch, looking for a free tutor? Her family is not short of money, so it shouldn't be that bad, right? The gifts given to He Xiao on various holidays, all in all, amount to several million. With that much money, you can find hundreds of good tutors in Beijing. It's really not that expensive. I sighed helplessly. I don't know since when, but I have become the focus of everyone's attention. I'm too lazy to pay attention to the messages in the group. I study medicine seriously with my uncle every day. Identify the age of Ganoderma lucidum. Learn Chinese medicine prescriptions and how to prescribe the right medicine for the disease. He also had to specialize in the art of acupuncture, practicing acupuncture on various acupoints on a puppet. It can't be too deep, it will harm the body. If it is too shallow, it won't cure the disease. It's really giving me a headache to learn this. But this sense of fulfillment is something I have never experienced in my past or present life. After all, this abundant reserve of knowledge can give me enough sense of security. And the painful memories of unrequited love in the past seem to be gradually buried deep in my heart. On this day, I received the admission letter. Admission letter from the Ocean University of China Hospital of Traditional Chinese Medicine. When my uncle saw it, he was so excited that tears filled his eyes. Shinshin, I didn't expect that you would apply to a university in High City. When your grandfather was still alive, he wanted your mother to apply to this school, stay in Shanghai, and run this Chinese medicine clinic with me. But your mother is blinded by love, which is what you young people call love-brained. You had to follow that old bastard of your father to Jing City. Now, you have fulfilled your grandfather's wish, and mine as well. I smiled and handed my uncle a tissue. In my previous life, I studied like crazy and finally got into Peking University as I wished. I studied business administration with He Zhengnian, but in the end it was of no use to me. I have lived this life over again. For my own hobby and also because my uncle miraculously cured by Qian, I have infinite admiration for Chinese medicine. So, I decided to apply to medical school. If possible, I hope to combine traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine, make greater contributions to the medical community, and bring benefits to more people with cancer. Uncle, don't cry, I will be sad. As I said that, I handed over a tissue. While I was madly absorbing knowledge, time passed by like a flash. The day of school opening is approaching. I suddenly received a call from the squad leader. She changed her previous contentious attitude and became much kinder. Hey, I finally got in touch with you. I rolled my eyes, as if you had called me on your own initiative. What's the matter? The squad leader sneered. It's like this, our class should prepare a teacher appreciation banquet. The date has been chosen. It will be tomorrow at noon. I heard from Bai Qian that you went to High City. School hasn't started yet, so do you want to attend the teacher appreciation banquet tomorrow? The teachers have always taken good care of me. No matter what, I still have to attend this teacher appreciation banquet. Well, could you please send me the location later, monitor? After some more pleasantries, the squad leader hung up the phone. After a general understanding, I found out that basically all the teachers who taught us attended the farewell banquet. So I went to the mall and bought some gifts. Chapter 17 Familiar Eyes. The next day, Bai Qian arrived at the airport early to pick him up. Seeing that I was alone, carrying a lot of bags and things, he hurried over to help. Suddenly, I felt a gloomy and cold gaze falling on my back. I shuddered subconsciously. This feels damn familiar. I hurriedly turned around and looked around, but didn't see that figure. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. But just a few hundred meters away, I seemed to see Qiao Qingqiu being surrounded by a group of people and leaving the airport. Without thinking too much, I left the airport carrying a bunch of gifts. These past few days, Lu Lingfeng has been sending me messages, asking if you're coming today. Bai Qian put his things in the car and complained, I'm almost annoyed to death. My heart skipped a beat again. Lu Lingfeng and I have basically no connection. And he is He Zhengnian's good brother. I didn't answer, but sat quietly in the back seat with my eyelids lowered. This time, the teacher appreciation banquet was still held in Zhuangyuan building. When Bai Qian and I arrived at the box, most of the classmates had already arrived. I took a quick look around but didn't see He Zhengnian. I finally put my mind at ease. The students presented their carefully selected gifts to the teachers. Everyone present was either rich or noble, so the gifts they presented were naturally priceless. The teachers were laughing happily, and after drinking a little too much, they inevitably started talking a lot. When it was my turn to toast, the head teacher grabbed me directly. A look of disappointment on one's face. He Zhengnian, you are the top student in the province, why don't you apply to Tsinghua University or Peking University? Why do you want to go to He Medical University? In the past 3 years, you have been like a dark horse, running rampant in our school. Finally, you got such a good score in the exam, and you yourself. The head teacher sighed and regretted. I pulled the corners of my lips slightly. Teacher, this is my choice after careful consideration. Well, I hope you won't regret it in the future, after all, you are so determined. The head teacher patted my shoulder earnestly. I stood up and bowed deeply to every teacher present. Thank you all teachers for your help and cultivation over the past 3 years. Actually, teachers, there is no need to feel sorry for me. First of all, Chinese medicine is a business that has been passed down from generation to generation in my family. My uncle opened a time-honored Chinese medicine clinic in He, which has a long history. Secondly, I chose the medical university so that it would be more convenient for me to study with my uncle. It's also for the inheritance of the family business. The teachers looked at each other, and it was obvious that most of them disagreed. However, they cannot interfere too much. They had no choice but to nod. I hope you have a bright future, kid. The head teacher gave his sincere wishes. Soon, the farewell banquet for teachers came to an end. The teachers left one after another, leaving the excited students to discuss where to go next. Lu Lingfeng suddenly stood up. I just booked a private room in KTV. Come on, let's go play together. I waved my hands in resistance. Or, you guys go, I won't go. If I happened to meet He Zhengnian, I would have to find a hole to crawl into in embarrassment. Lu Lingfeng smiled mysteriously and winked at the female classmate next to me. Immediately afterwards, I was dragged to the KTV. It was not until after singing a few rounds of songs that I realized He Zhengnian hadn't come, and I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Soon, it was time for the truth or dare game. Chapter 18: 3 Men in a Play. This is an essential part of every outing. When I rolled the dice, I got the lowest number. I smiled awkwardly and said, I'd better choose the truth. God knows what these people would do to me if I had chosen the dare. The class monitor and the study committee member looked at each other with a look of triumph on their faces. He Zhengnian, what kind of person do you hope to marry in the future? As soon as these words were spoken, the whole place fell silent. All the classmates' eyes fell on me. Even Bai Qian subconsciously moved closer to me and warned me in a low voice, be careful, this is a trap. I nodded reassuringly. He looked at the student who asked the question with a determined look. I hope my future spouse is a warm man, but definitely not a central air conditioner. You need to be gentle in character and shrewd yet kind in your dealings with others. It would be best if he was good at quarreling. If I can't win an argument with someone else, he can stand up for me. The family doesn't have to be rich or powerful, but they must be capable and motivated, and it would be best if they have an artistic hobby. Before I could finish my words, Bai Qian weakly raised his hand. Little deskmate, why do I feel like you're talking about me? Looking at his blushing face, the corners of my mouth twitched. In fact, I described it in the opposite direction of He Zhengnian. These are things he is totally unable to do. Then I realized how coincidental it was that what I described was exactly the same as Bai Qian's. Looking at his height of 190 centimeters, an idea came to my mind. That's not you. Because I have another hard requirement. Your height must not exceed 185 centimeters, because my height is 165 centimeters. The height difference between my future husband and me must not exceed 20 centimeters. Bai Qian rolled his eyes. Thank you for saving the situation. The classmates started to make a noise. Based on my description of my criteria for choosing a spouse, they have completely ruled out He Zhengnian. I almost shouted out loud, as long as it's different from He Zhengnian's, it's fine. At this moment, the door of the box was suddenly pushed open. He Zhengnian was already standing at the door. I clenched my fists nervously, wondering in my heart whether he heard what I just said. I was expecting him to hear it. But I was afraid that he heard it. I don't even know what I'm struggling with. Mr. He, you're here. Lu Lingfeng smiled awkwardly and walked forward and put his arm around He Zhengnian's shoulders. Look, you're already late, but you insisted on going to the airport, saying you wanted to pick someone up. Did you pick someone up? My heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the familiar feeling at the airport was really He Zhengnian? He Zhengnian looked cold and said, "No, I just arrived at the airport and found that someone else got there first." I? By Qian? We looked at each other. Lu Lingfeng's eyes fell directly on me, Jiu Yinshan, who picked you up. Bai Qian stood up decisively, by me. I have black lines all over my head. 3 men in one play. Why do I feel like I've been caught cheating? I shook my head violently. Suppress this ridiculous idea. Mr. He must have gone to the airport to pick up Xiao Qingqiu, right? Today I saw the crew surrounding Miss Xiao as she left the airport. At that time, I saw Xiao Qingqiu's figure, and I thought I was seeing things. Chapter 19, Father and Daughter Breakup. The classmates started to make a fuss again. Everyone is supporting the couple He Zhengnian and Xiao Qingqiu. But I forced myself to smile. I keep warning myself in my heart not to be so self-indulgent anymore. Aren't all the suffering and hardships you endured in your previous life enough to teach you a lesson? After playing a few more rounds of truth or dare, I was ready to leave. Coincidentally, my mother called me at this time. I simply used the excuse that I had something to do at home and got away smoothly. But I really can't ignore that behind me, there is a pair of eyes that can almost burn me. As soon as I got home, I saw my father with a gloomy face and my mother with a pale face and red and swollen eyes. Dad, Mom, I'm back. As soon as he finished speaking, my father quickly picked up the ashtray on the table and threw it at me. I was quick-witted and dodged it. Dad, what do you mean? My dad yelled, what do I mean? Jiu Yinshan, is your fucking brain filled with shit? I have carefully cultivated you for so many years and paid so much for you. Don't you know what's going on? You scored the top score in the province, but you applied to the medical school in High City. What the hell were you thinking? My father got so angry that his face turned red and he pointed at my nose and started scolding me. Although I am the provincial champion, my ambition is to study medicine. I responded neither humbly nor arrogantly. My father took a deep breath, but still couldn't suppress the anger in his heart and yelled at me. Damn, Peking University, Tsinghua University, which higher education institution doesn't have a medical major? Do you have to go to the medical university in High City? But I smiled very comfortably. My uncle is in Haisha. Besides, a university specializing in medicine will definitely have more credibility and a longer heritage. I got the score by myself, and I won the provincial top spot based on my own ability. Why can't I apply to the university I like? My dad was hysterical. I'm your father, if I say no, it's no. Then, in order to vent his anger, my father smashed everything that could be smashed in the house. I just sat on the sofa and watched him go crazy. He didn't speak again until he calmed down a little. Anyway, your mother and I are about to sign the divorce agreement. After your birthday, you will be 18 years old, and I will no longer have the obligation to raise you. Since you are determined to go to High City to study medicine, I won't stop you. From now on, don't come back to Jing City. Go out, and don't say you are my, Jiu Qinlang's, daughter anymore. Looking at my father's determined expression, I felt a sharp pain in my heart. After taking a deep breath, I stood up. Okay, it's a deal. Since you are so determined, then write a letter of guarantee in front of the lawyer to sever the father-daughter relationship. From now on, we are no longer father and daughter. My father was also determined to separate from me. He immediately called over several lawyers from the company. I wrote a letter of guarantee to sever the father-daughter relationship in front of them. By the way, all my additional bank cards were frozen, cutting off my only source of income. I don't really care about that. After all, I am the top scholar in the province, and the province has a bonus of 500,000 yuan waiting for me. Moreover, I was admitted to the medical university with high scores, and the school promised to cover all tuition, miscellaneous fees and even accommodation fees. I went to various universities for free. Chapter 20, The Dilemma of the Mother. In addition, there are various scholarships available every semester. Haisha also has local bonuses and so on. I'm just waiting for you to use your ID card to buy a new bank card and go to collect my little treasury. As long as I don't spend lavishly, this money will be enough for me to live for more than 10 years. Gu Qianlang, remember what you said and did today, don't regret it later. After saying that, I got up and went back to my room and started packing my things. Since I won't be coming back again, I'll move everything that belongs to me away. But the tears still flowed out uncontrollably. In my previous life, I knew that they were using and exploiting me without any bottom line. But I still look forward to their family love. In this life, I have finally seen things clearly. Only Gu Yinshan, who studied at Tsinghua University and Peking University, is worthy of being the daughter of the Gu family. This will also become his source of pride. Even if he is not promising, he can still study abroad to gain some experience. After he comes back, he can talk about it with dignity. But there is only one thing. You must never study at a university that is not well known in China. It certainly can't be the medical university in High City. Because my grandfather once forced my mother to go to Haisha Medical University, but my mother gave up. She turned around and took the life-saving money from my master's surgery and eloped with my father to Beijing. This is definitely a place that my father cannot bear to look back on. It is also his shameless face hidden under the fig leaf. Boom boom boom. Just then, my mother came in with a bank card. Shinshin, your dad and I have become very upset. Now I have no say at all. My mother pressed the bank card into my hand and said, "This is the tuition I prepared for you. It's not much, just 1 million. I got it from your father before." I frowned. For this money, I can't. Nothing is impossible. My mother wiped the tears from her eyes. It was me who secured the tuition for you before he severed the father-daughter relationship with you. He just told me privately that this money will be used directly as compensation for severing ties with you. It can be considered as his final duty as a father. From now on, my mother and I will have nothing to do with him. Hearing this, I didn't waste any words and directly accepted the bank card. Who would complain about having too little money? What's more, this is the compensation that Gu Qianlang paid me for severing ties with me. My mother and I packed a lot of luggage together. Then they were all mailed to Haisha. The next day, I flew directly back to the single-family villa that my uncle transferred to me. The yard is full of medicinal herbs. Every time I smell it, I feel refreshing. It seems that all the injuries suffered outside can be easily healed here. In the evening, I was reading in a rocking chair. Knock knock knock. There was a knock on the door. I was a little surprised. There were visitors at this time. When I opened the door, I saw it was the courier guy. Gu Yinshan, right? I nodded. There's a courier, please sign for it. The stuff I mailed last night, has it arrived so quickly? Surprised, I started to check the package for any damage. As a result, I didn't see any sender information on the express delivery note. How is this possible? I double-checked. This is SF Express. I mailed things myself, using YTO Express. This doesn't match. Courier, did you deliver it to the wrong place? Chapter 21, Criteria for Choosing a Spouse. The courier boy waved his hands hurriedly. It was not delivered to the wrong address. Look, the address to sign for is right here. Looking at these unfamiliar boxes, I was a little confused. Could it be the daily necessities my uncle bought for me? Take out your cell phone and call your uncle directly. Uncle, did you buy anything? A courier has been delivered to me. My uncle's voice came from the other end of the phone. I didn't buy anything. Shinshin, if you don't have enough money, tell your uncle. He still has some savings. My uncle probably thought that I had run out of money in my bank card. My heart warmed, thank you, uncle. We suddenly received several unexplained express deliveries here, with no sender information, which is very strange. Then check it out carefully and tell your uncle if you need anything. Good. After hanging up the phone, I took out my cell phone and checked the express delivery number again. The sender information shows a Mr. The phone number is unavailable. The address is also filled in randomly. Hey, little girl, please sign for it quickly, I have another package to deliver. The courier urged impatiently. I'm sorry, I can't accept this kind of weird express delivery. Please return it. After saying that, he turned around and closed the door. The courier seemed to have anticipated this result, so he was not in a hurry. Instead, he shouted outside the door, "Little girl, if you don't want to sign for it, then don't sign for it." But I took photos to prove that I delivered it to your doorstep. I'm leaving first. As soon as he finished speaking, there was no sound outside the door. I was shocked. Damn, are the couriers now also acting like scoundrels? I won't sign for it, but you force me to accept it. When I opened the door, I saw a small pile of express deliveries in front of the door, directly blocking the road. Isn't this a trap for me? If we don't move into the yard, we will definitely be complained by our neighbors. Helplessly, I had to move into the yard one by one. I opened the boxes one by one and looked at the contents. I was completely numb. How to be invincible in an argument. Sophistry. Debate thinking. Physical fitness manual. How to grow taller in a short period of time. In addition to these books, there are also a bunch of foods and drinks that can help you grow taller. With a twitching mouth, I took photos of these things and sent them directly to Bai Qian. Did you send it? Bai Qian immediately replied with an emoticon, shocked.jpg. My little deskmate, this really has nothing to do with me. Not him? Who could it be then? Could it be? But in the next few days, I didn't receive any relevant information. Even just asking, did you receive it? None at all. I felt a little lost in my heart. That's fine, why do you have to be so sentimental? I found a few movers and sent all the packages back to the SF Express station. I ran into the guy who was delivering a package to me. Eh? Why are you here, little girl? The courier boy asked with a smile. I pointed at the pile of packages and said, please help me return these things intact. The courier boy's face froze and he smiled awkwardly, har har, what a pity. At least it's a kind gesture from someone else. I stared at him intently. Then can you tell me who sent it? No, if you do a job, you have to follow the rules of the job. But I can give you some hints. Since they have prepared everything for you, I guess they are someone of the opposite sex who is interested in you. And then, are you fully prepared? Only. The courier boy's reminder reminded me of the criteria for choosing a partner that I mentioned before at the teacher's farewell party. Chapter 22 Lovely College Roommates. Seeing that I was in deep thought, the courier boy deliberately slapped his forehead. Ouch, look at my mouth. The guy from Jing City specifically told me not to reveal any information to you. Now that I said that, you've guessed it, haven't you? I raised an eyebrow and looked at him. The one in Beijing? I put a lot of thought into it. Even told me not to know. Someone who can have so many interactions with me. Have you guessed who it is? I lowered my eyelids and suppressed the turmoil in my heart. No. Seeing this, the quick guy looked helpless. How about you just call that person with a different surname who you have a good relationship with and ask him? Why? He didn't even ask me if I needed these things, he just mailed them to me. Why should I rush to call him? Please return all these things. I'm leaving first. After saying that, I left without waiting for the courier boy to respond. Soon, the day of school arrived. My uncle carried all my bags and took the trouble to send me to college. He accompanied me to report and then sent me to the dormitory. If there's anything you're not used to, just tell your uncle directly. You can clean up the rest by yourself. After all, this is a girls' dormitory, and it's not good for your uncle to sit here all the time. After telling me, my uncle blushed and was about to leave. I looked at his back and joked with a smile, Uncle, please find me an aunt as soon as possible. Go back quickly. My uncle left as if he was escaping. After making my bed, I received a WeChat message from my mother. Recently, your dad has been running errands with his mistresses every day, and there have even been large transfers of high amounts of money. Shinshin, now is the critical period for property division. I am afraid that your father will transfer the property, so I must stay here to watch over your father. Sighed. I responded with a cold hum. I put my phone down and was about to go for a walk outside the dormitory when I heard a knock on the door. Then 3 exquisite girls walked in one after another. Their skin is very smooth, white, tender, and delicate. It can be seen that they have never suffered any hardship and are the apple of their family's eye. They will probably be my roommates and classmates for the next 7 or 8 years. The 3 of them looked at me in unison. Hello. I'm Jiu Yinshin. I hastily began to introduce myself. When the 3 heard that I spoke the local dialect of High City, they all came over excitedly. Wow, your mime is so cute and sweet. I smiled shyly. I'm a local from High City. At this moment, one of the shorter and cuter girls hugged my arm affectionately. I am also a local of High City. My name is Su Ying. She also spoke to me in a fluent and coquettish Haisha accent. The other girl smiled widely and spoke in authentic Beijing accent. Wow, I really envy you guys. When you have time, you must take us out for a walk. I'm from Beijing, my name is Han Beibei. My parents just ruthlessly threw me into this school and left me there. Use some friends urgently. Seeing her pretending to be pitiful, we all laughed out loud. Another girl with a Cantonese accent couldn't help but joke. I clearly saw your parents personally send you here, and they gave you a lot of instructions before they left. Hello everyone. My name is Wang Qingyang. Chapter 23 His Birthday. Listening to her poor Mandarin, we couldn't help but burst out laughing. I asked carefully again, and found out that these three people basically all came from medical families. They all really have great backgrounds. Sisters, I will rely on you in medicine from now on. I'm a newbie, please guide me and give me some advice. Han Beibei put her arm around my shoulders generously. Oh, we're going to be together for 7 or 8 years. There's plenty of time. Wang Qingyang was amazed. I did my homework in advance. Shinshin, your uncle is a big shot in the field of traditional Chinese medicine. We will all have to rely on you to lead us in the future. Su Ying also nodded. I've heard that too. We'll have to rely on Uncle Shinshin to guide us in the future. After I graduate, I will open a Chinese medicine clinic, pass it down for 100 years, and save the people. Save the common people. Har 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 har, Su Ying, your dream is so big and lofty. Har 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 har. There was constant laughter in the dormitory. The memories of my previous life make me feel like I'm in another world. During the military training, the 4 of us were the best role models. The instructor praises us every day. After taking a break, we all started to work on ourselves. Everyone was holding a mobile phone, madly absorbing medical knowledge. The entire freshman class seems to be in a state of internal competition, and the atmosphere of learning has reached a new level. The instructor also learned a lot of medical theories from us. Soon, time passed quickly as I studied day and night. Winter is approaching. November 8th. When I look at the calendar, I always feel that this day is particularly familiar and intimate. After thinking about it for a long time, I finally remembered it. Today is He Zhengnian's birthday. In previous years, including before this day arrived every year in the previous life, I always prepare various birthday gifts for him in advance. Of course, I also have my own little thoughts. I just want him to remember how many years and days I have been chasing him. In my previous life, I wanted to make this day unforgettable in my life. I specifically picked this day and took him to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a marriage certificate. Ding dong. The phone rings. I clicked it and saw it was a text message. I clicked it subconsciously and was scared to death. Dear SVIP customer, Ms. Gu Yinshin, hello. 1 year ago, your customized birthday gift has been delivered to the destination and has been signed for. Welcome to visit us next time. I put down the phone trembling. My heart is beating like a drum. Customized, personal birthday gift. Suddenly, a flood of memories flooded into my mind. Just when I was feeling uneasy, the other 3 roommates suddenly surrounded me. It's time. I've reserved a table at Juxianglu. Let's go eat. Su Ying smiled and pulled my arm. You're the only one who hasn't cleaned up yet. Hurry up, I'm so hungry. Han Beibei looked at me pitifully. R. I uttered a low cry and turned around suddenly. You guys go first, I. Seeing me hesitating and my cheeks flushed, Han Beibei reached directly to my forehead. Shinshin, what's wrong with you? Do you have a fever? Why is your face so red? Su Ying and Wang Qingyang also hurriedly took my temperature. My brain went berserk and exploded. That shameful memory came to my mind and I felt so ashamed. Of course I will blush and feel hot. Chapter 24, A Shameful Birthday Gift. It's okay, go eat first. I have something urgent to deal with. Having said that, I stood up and escorted the 3 people out of the dormitory. What's the matter? Are you so anxious that you don't even have time to go out for dinner with us? It's urgent. The fatal thing. At this point, I was so anxious that I wanted to cry. I still remember, a year ago, I had not yet been reborn. To celebrate He Zhengnian's 18th birthday, and also to thank him for his hard work in explaining the questions to me for 3 years, I specially customized a personal gift for him, an exquisite and unique brooch. It cost a total of 850,000. At that time, I was very excited to provide my concepts and ideas to this internationally renowned designer. It took 2 months just to revise the draft. My pickiness almost caused the designer to reject my order. From the small brooch style, to the gift box packaging, to the texture, color and message of the birthday card, I'm in on it all. I vaguely remember that the address I left at that time was the He family villa. Since my rebirth, I have forgotten about this matter, so I didn't continue to ask about the specific progress. And today, the designer actually delivered the gift to the He family villa on time. OMG! Who come save me? So embarrassing. Why is it that at such a young age, you are still so naughty and want to indulge in these petty love affairs? Have you ever considered that I would feel ashamed when I grow up? The world was spinning in my head and I really wanted to be reborn again to the day when I customized the gift, and then stop being a bootlicker forever. I was so nervous that my mouth was dry and even drinking several bottles of mineral water didn't relieve the feeling. 3 words kept circling in my mind. What to do? If I could take back my birthday present, maybe. With this in mind, I called the designer directly. Hello, Miss Chin. When the other party heard my voice, he felt a headache. Miss Gu, I don't provide after-sales service. I hurriedly apologized with a smile. No, I was thinking about that birthday present. It has been delivered to the He family villa. Before I could finish, the designer interrupted me and said, today is Mr. His birthday, and too many people have given him gifts. I can't guarantee that he will be able to receive the gift I sent on your behalf. Because the security guards collect all the money for us. If you want to give us feedback, I took some photos and sent them to you on WeChat. I laughed awkwardly. Thank you. I wish you all the best. Goodbye. Well, thank you, Miss Chin. I hung up the phone, feeling both amused and helpless. Looking at the pictures on WeChat, I wish I could find a hole to crawl into. Isn't he the person standing behind the gatekeeper He Zhengnian? He seems to be looking at the gift. Oh no. What to do? What do I do? I remember that I also gave this brooch as a gift in my previous life. But after marriage, I never saw He Zhengnian bring it. There was no trace of it even in his room. Perhaps. Maybe it has been thrown away by the housekeeper or the servant. It may also be given to others as a favor. In my previous life, after I got married, as the young lady, I also started to deal with some of the He family's interpersonal relationships. The He family divides the gifts they receive into different levels and also based on the closeness of the relationship. Gifts from relatives or upper-class people will be piled up in the boutique room. Gifts from distant relatives and lowly people will be disposed of one by one. Only gifts from people of noble status would be reviewed by He Zhengnian or the 2 elders of the He family. To be on the safe side, I quickly opened Lu Lingfeng's WeChat Moments. Chapter 25 Return Gift. The moment I saw the latest developments, my heart was finally at ease. The accompanying picture shows a pile of gifts piled up at the door of the villa. When I zoomed in, I seemed to see the brooch gift box I customized among the pile of gifts. The copywriter, He Zhengnian, is really crowded with people. The comments below the post are all filled with happy birthday wishes. There were also many comments from rich kids asking Lu Lingfeng if he had seen the gift I sent. Only now did I feel completely relieved. Shinshin, we packed up all the food for dinner, let's eat together. At this moment, the roommate's voice came from outside the door. Then the dormitory door was pushed open. Su Ying, Han Beibei and Wang Qingyang walked in carrying large and small bags. The aroma of food instantly filled the entire dormitory. You must be hungry. Han Beibei handed over the lunchbox with a smile, a small lunchbox customized for your appetite. I took it with emotion, thank you. Why are you still crying? Su Ying took a tissue and wiped the tears from my face, then hugged me carefully. Did something bad happen? Tell us, we'll do our best to help you. I shook my head quickly. I was too nervous just now. I just relaxed and was moved by you guys. That's why I cried. I sniffed and burst into laughter. Wang Qingyang opened the lunchboxes one by one and pulled me to sit down together. Before you left just now, have you resolved all the things you said you wanted to deal with? I frowned. Is it solved? Now that it's settled, eat quickly. We only have dinner together once a month, how can we miss you? Hanbebe smiled and put several pieces of turnip into my lunchbox. Eat quickly, the final exam is coming soon, and there are still a lot of theories to memorize. When I heard that, I didn't have time to think about anything else and just started eating. Yes, the exam is coming soon. We must hurry up. The next day, just after class, I received a call from an unfamiliar number in Beijing. For a moment, I was a little dazed. Could it be him? Just as I was in a daze, the phone stopped ringing. Then it rang again. I couldn't help but laugh. This phone call was really persistent. After the call was connected, the person on the other end spoke with an authentic Beijing accent. Hello, are you Miss Gu? Yes. I am the assistant housekeeper of the He family. Thank you again for the birthday gift for the young master. It's like this. The young master has prepared a return gift for every gentleman and lady who gave a gift. Could you please tell me the address? I really don't want to have any dealings with He Zhengnian anymore. Therefore, I don't want any return gift. I'm sorry, you don't need to be so polite. He Zhengnian and I were high school classmates. He often tutored me on various subjects, which was very helpful to me. This birthday gift itself is to express my gratitude to him. There was silence on the other end of the phone. After a while, the assistant housekeeper spoke again. Miss Gu, this is the etiquette of the He family. If you want to thank the young master, you can give him another gift in private. But your birthday gift has been delivered to his villa, and the He family will send a return gift to everyone. This is also my job, please don't refuse. I was speechless for a moment. I don't want a return gift, but you still force me to give it to you. Chapter 26, 559 million. After thinking it over again and again, a good idea suddenly came to my mind. In fact, my relationship with He Zhengnian is just average, so there's really no need for any favors. How about this, you mail my gift directly back to me. When I have the chance in the future, I will give it to Mr. He in private. I still remember that inside the brooch gift box lay a greeting card that I carefully made. There is also a passage above that is comparable to a confession. The more I think about it, the more ashamed I feel. I'm trying to find a way to get it back. The assistant housekeeper panicked. What? His voice was trembling. This is really not in accordance with etiquette. What is etiquette or not? Originally, I was not a relative of the He family, and my family could only be considered upper middle class, not wealthy. Could it be that the gift I gave has been given to someone else by the He family as a favor? That would be a more troublesome situation. But, as long as it is not delivered to He Zhengnian, it is a very good result. Also, Miss Gu, the young master has prepared an exquisite return gift for you, please do not refuse it. Under the repeated insistence of the housekeeper's assistant, I had to tell her the address. Thank you, Miss Gu. At this moment, the assistant housekeeper breathed a sigh of relief, and even his voice was full of joy. It was as if I had been liberated. The gift will be delivered the next day, Miss Gu, please be sure to sign for it in person. After saying that, the housekeeper assistant hung up the phone as if afraid that I would refuse again. I really didn't expect that a housekeeper assistant in the He family would be so efficient and capable. I was too lazy to think about it, so I went back to the dormitory and continued reviewing. But, I never expected it. The efficiency of the He family's housekeeper assistant has reached a new level. It was agreed to be delivered the next day. How come the gift was delivered to the dormitory door just 2 hours after I hung up the phone? If you don't know, you might think that the He family has been waiting in the dormitory of the medical university for a long time. When I received the exquisite gift box from the SF Express courier, I was a little shocked. There is sender information on the express delivery, which is He Zhengnian. Unlike the last express deliveries, there is no sender information. This time, I have no reason to return it. I just received a gift box, and the SF Express courier turned around and ran away at the speed of a 100-meter sprint. As if afraid that I would refuse to accept it. As soon as I returned to the dormitory, the other 3 roommates came up to me curiously. How come I can smell a fragrance from so far away? Yes, this packaging bag looks like it was custom made. The material is not available on the market. It's very expensive. Wow, could it be a gift from one of Xinxian's lovers? Xinxian, open it and take a look. The three people chattered at the same time and urged me to open the gift box. I am also very curious in my heart, what will the He family's return gift be? As soon as I opened the lid, I saw an exquisite diamond necklace. A full 5 carats. Every certain distance on the chain is decorated with a small diamond. The necklace clasps are all made of crystal, which appear to be glittering under the refraction of light. OMG! As I recall, this is the latest necklace to be auctioned by an international auction house this quarter. Han Beibei exclaimed. This real thing, is even more dazzling than the photo. Wang Qingyan's cold personality rarely revealed a hint of fanaticism. This is just sparkling. Beibei, I remember the bidding price was 500 million. Su Ying nodded hurriedly, to be exact, it's 559 million. I opened my mouth so wide in shock that an egg could fit in it. Chapter 27 Exclusive Engraving. Are the return gifts from the He family generally worth dozens of times the value of the gift itself? Oh my god, if this is true! I seem to have discovered a new way to make money. Just as I was thinking about it, Su Ying exclaimed. There's a string of letters engraved on this necklace. GYX. There was a flash of panic in my eyes. Han Beibei muttered as if she had gained something, GYX, Gu Yinshan. It's the initials of Xinxian's name. My heart was hit hard again. How could it be such a coincidence? I held onto a lucky feeling, smiled awkwardly and blinked. Maybe it's a coincidence. You're overthinking it. What if that designer's name is also GYX? I hurried to make up for it. Han Beibei shook her head in disapproval. Xinxian, this is what you don't understand. I have a cousin in my family who is an internationally renowned jewelry designer. She taught me that designers are absolutely not allowed to engrave words on their works. If there is engraving on the jewelry, it must be the customer's request and the craftsman's handwriting. It has nothing to do with the designer. I just heard a thump in my heart. The silent heart floated in the throat again. This. How is this possible? Perhaps it was the He family's housekeeper assistant who thoughtfully hired a worker to carve his name on the necklace. I couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief at this thought. I remember the person bidding was the young master of the He family in Jing City. Su Ying stared at me thoughtfully. Such a luxurious gift was simply given to me as a gift. Could it be? My breathing also became rapid. He hurriedly interrupted the three of them. Don't think about it, it's just a necklace. Having said that, I'm going to close the lid. Su Ying held my hand and stared at me with her starry eyes. Bring it with you so we can see it. Even if we don't ask you who gave it to you, you should at least let us see how it works on you. Yes, bring it with us and let us see it. Han Beibei and Wang Qingyang also joined in the fun. I had no choice but to wear it around my neck. In an instant, the lights in the dormitory became much dimmer. It seems that I am the only one shining in the whole world. 5-carat diamond, crystal necklace clasp, and diamonds dotted at intervals. All of them make me dazzled. Su Ying, Han Beibei, and Wang Qingyang swallowed in unison. My eyes were so bright that I could hardly open them. TSK, you can't judge a person by his appearance, and you can't measure the depth of the ocean by a bucket. Our hearts are so beautiful with just a little decoration. Han Beibei praised it with admiration. I took off the necklace guiltily and returned it to the gift box carefully. Call. Such a valuable return gift. Was it the work of the housekeeper's assistant, or? But does the housekeeper assistant have such broad authority? I'm too lazy to think about it anymore, I just feel that I have found another way to make money. But I just remember that last year I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to order a pair of high-end sneakers and presented them to He Zhengnian. When I wished him a happy birthday, his expression was indescribable. Besides, I haven't seen him wear it since then. I have never received any priceless gift from him.